大家好，你们好，今天你们怎么样？今天你们的天气怎么样？我想看看今天有没有很多老朋友、新朋友啊。大家好，我是奔放。今天我们要学习发音我觉得今天有很多老朋友会过来啊。Hello everyone, this is Ben Fang. Welcome to another class of the pronunciation. And last time we learned how to pronounce the individual pinyin and the tones. And today we are going to learn something more interesting and a lot of hidden rules about the pronunciation and the rhythms of Chinese. 你们怎么样？你们昨天做了什么？今天怎么样？我看一看啊，今天在我的老家今天没有暖气所以今天很冷很冷在家里我要穿很厚的衣服，很厚的衣服。你们今天的天气怎么样？你们在哪里？好，看一看。好，大爱说今天有点累，要喝一点咖啡，对吗？很好欢迎你，戴美法丽，你好，美法丽也很冷吗？欢迎你，欢迎你很高兴我今天看到很多老朋友在这儿我不知道 Laura、安娜在不在金属龙，很好。好我准备分享我的屏幕很好好看到很多好朋友，觉得很高兴很高兴又见到你们今天我们学习一节非常有意思的发音课how to pronounce Velasania 很高兴又看到你。Great so now let's get started. 我们开始吧。今天有很多很多有意思的内容，我要跟大家分享一下以后我也会有很多的这个直播课Also, I will have a lot of live streaming class. For example, this Thursday, I have a class at 9. We will focus more on the pronunciation. And if you would like to receive more notice about live streaming class, feel free to add the WeChat group here or WhatsApp group here. And always welcome to book more lessons with me on italki. 谢谢大家，谢谢大家。Velasania, no problem. Today's class about pronunciation. This is a class for everyone. 非常非常非常有用的一节课，所以你不用担心。Don't worry. You can try to feel the language a little bit with the pinyin and the tones. Will be an interesting class. 很好。好的我们今天开始看一下首先我们先复习一下Let's make a review first in Chinese other than the individual pinyin and the tones, we also need to pay attention to the 2 pinyin words, 3 pinyin words, and how to pronounce the 4 pinyin words. For each type of word, we have to take them as a whole chunk. For example, the rule for 2 pinyin words is light stress, which means the first pinyin should be pronounced a little bit soft, and the second pinyin should be a lot of stress with a little bit higher pitch and a little bit longer of the length. So let's take a quick look here. For example, let's see, for 2 pinyin word, we have to, in our mind, we have to imagine two boxes with different sides. The first pinyin is lower, the second pinyin is higher and longer. So for example, coffee, 咖啡, 咖啡, both are first tone, but however, the ka should be lower, fei should be higher, and the ka should be quicker, fei is longer. So again, should be 咖啡, 咖啡. They are not the same level, and there's no pause in between, just directly. 咖啡, 咖啡, very good. Again, 咖啡. And for the fridge, same thing. When two tone one together, the level is different. 冰箱, 冰箱, 非常好，冰箱 And if it's a word with three pinyin, then we have to follow the rule of medium, light, stress. No pause in the middle. It has to be something all together. And we have to make the middle one super fast and light. The first one, medium length. And the last one, much longer. So for example, to drink coffee, individually should be 喝咖啡. But when they are together, form the new meaning. Drink coffee together will be 喝咖啡, 喝咖啡. Can you feel the tone, the difference, right? The difference of the level of the pitch of the 喝咖啡. One more time. 喝咖啡, 喝咖啡. Fei is the last pinyin with tone mark, where we need to put the stress. 喝咖啡. To open the fridge 开冰箱，开冰箱，非常好。And Singapore will be 新加坡，新加坡。Very good. Tone one is always keep the same flight. Do not go up, do not go down. Even though they are at a different level, you should to make it the flight keep it all the time. 谢谢美法力所以so Singapore in Chinese is 新加坡，新加坡，非常好新加坡。好。And for 4 pinyin words, now the rule has to be differently. For 4 pinyin words, we do the rule of light, 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 and stress. So the first 3 pinyin, it has to be equally short and very light, very fast. We only put the stress on the last pinyin. So for example, for the famous tourist site, historical sites, in Chinese, let's do it one by one first. 名胜古迹，名胜古迹。ji is the last pinyin with tone mark. We need to put a stress here, and the other 3 And here, another tip, very important. Although they are equally fast light, but the end of one pinyin should be the beginning of the next pinyin. So in this way, it will be naturally flow of the word. If we put the 名胜 in a different pitch, then you will have the pause in the middle. But we don't want the pause. We want it to be fast for the first 3 pinyin. So here, although the second tone is has to be end very high, but we need to think about the next pinyin, which is the tone for 胜, to make a natural fall and then a natural go up. So you see the beginning of a 古 is actually part of the 胜. So then you can naturally go up and down and to avoid the cuts, the pause in the middle. So this one will be 名胜古迹，名胜古迹，非常好啊。So 名胜古，名胜古迹，迹，名胜古迹，名胜古迹 ，perfect 啊。So it will be not natural to say 名胜古迹 but we need to do the 哒哒哒哒，名胜古迹，名胜古迹，非常好啊，非常好。And the next one for, let's see another example for bus, the public bus. In Chinese is 公共汽车，公共汽车，公共汽车，非常好啊。So 公it's here and 共 immediately go down. And the third one is qi is also tone 4, but this tone 4 we need to make a little bit higher than the gong, because if it's higher, it's easily to reach the tone 1 in the end, which the one that we have to put the stress on. So for bus in Chinese will be 公共汽车，公共汽车公共汽车，非常好啊。哒哒哒哒，公共汽车，公共汽车，非常好。And then let's see one more since this one is a little bit difficult for high speed, the high speed highway high speed is 高速，高速，高速。And the next one, the gong a little bit higher in order to reach the beginning part of lu. So here together will be 高速公路，高速公路，非常好啊。A little bit slower, 高速公路，高速公路 and faster, 高速公路，高速公路。好啊，非常好。如果你们有问题，你们可以写下来问我啊。If you have any question, don't hesitate to write me anytime. 好so just a quick summary of the pronunciation rules. If the 2 pinyin words, 3 pinyin words, 4 pinyin words, the last pinyin has the tone, then we need to put the stress on the last pinyin of that with tone mark. So for example, here the 2 pinyin words will be light stress, and the rule for 3 pinyin words is medium light stress, and the 4 pinyin words is light stress. If the last pinyin doesn't have a tone, which is neutral tone, then we need to put the stress on the one before the pinyin, the last pinyin has tone mark before the neutral tone. 非常好. So now maybe many people has questions and how do we divide the sentence into chunks? How can we say it naturally and how do we know where to put the pause in a full sentence? So now let's take a look of one typical sentence here. So without knowing any rule, if I see so many pinyin, I will read like this, like 我觉得我下周一会跟朋友去电影院看一个法国电影。So imagine this. If we say that in this way, from the listener's perspective, it will be difficult for the listener to receive this message, right? Because the characters and the pinyin are separated from each other. There's no rhythm, and there's it's the pinyin, the words is all over the place. So it's the listener has to combine those words in the chunks by themselves, which is difficult to understand in a context. So therefore, when we are trying to give a sentence, to say a sentence, it's better before we say it, we already group them up into the chunks of 3, 4, 5 words, 5 pinyin. And when we put those chunks together, it's easy to let the listener receive the message easily. So, for example, now I put the same sentence into different groups. And in each groups, I will follow the rule that I introduced earlier, and I put a pause between each chunk. Within each chunk, I will read it quickly and fastly. So here will be 我觉得我下周一会跟朋友去电影院看一个法国电影。So 我觉得 I think what 我下周一I next Monday, which is a time concept. So next Monday, what's going to happen? 会跟朋友will be with friend. So I will preposition 跟朋友 with friend. With friend to do what? 去电影院to go to the movie theater. To do what? 看一个to watch one of what? 法国电影法国电影。So if you put those chunks together, it will be very easy to send your message, and it will be easy for the listener to receive it. So, and in each chunk, we follow the rule. Here, 的 is neutral tone, so we put the stress on 觉。我觉得，我觉得。我下周一so next Monday. E is the last pinyin of this chunk with tone mark. 会跟朋友 U is neutral tone, stress on 朋去电影院so 院 is the last pinyin of the chunk. 看一个 to watch one, this one is not a big piece of detail to know, so doesn't matter. But what matters is a French movie, 法国电影影so 影 with a stress. So again, the whole sentence. 我觉得我下周一会跟朋友去电影院看一个法国电影。好。So can you more or less feel the flow, the rhythm of the sentence? Colleen, that was my question from last time. Very clear. Thanks. Thank you, Colleen. I'm glad that you are enjoying the lesson. 谢谢，谢谢. So here, here one more time to feel the flow a little bit more. You can close your eye and try to feel it. 我觉得我下周一会跟朋友去电影院看一个法国电影。So there's up and down, and you can feel the stress in each parts. And because of the stress, you can further eliminate the gap between the chunks. When you are very, very comfortable with each chunks, you can try to combine the chunks and eliminate the gap because the stress is clear to separate the sentence. So for example, and one thing I want to remind everyone is that when I say stress, it not necessarily means you have to give a very high volume. We don't to be very loud for the stress part. But when I say the stress is to compare the light ones, you see, I put it here in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the levels of your volume. The volume is actually the pitch is all concentrated within the 2 to 4. So in daily conversation, you won't hear very loud. Instead, you can feel the stress in a relatively flat flat range. So here 我觉得 right 觉 is higher than 我觉得the neutral tone drop 我觉得 for this chunk 我下周一我下周一 not 我下周一 not that high just 我下周一会跟朋友我觉得我下周一会跟朋友去电影院院 the part with stress but not extremely high 去电影院看一个法国电影that's it. So although it's not too high, but it within the range of their pitch Kim Jong Moon 说：“老师，你是中国哪里人我是哈尔滨人在中国的东北我们这里据说是最标准的普通话it is said we speak the most standard Mandarin in China. So and I'm very confident about that too 谢谢。好so let's continue So as I mentioned earlier, if you are already comfortable with the small chunks, now try to improve your speaking, your pronunciation to the next level, which is to make the chunk bigger and try to kill the gap between each chunks. So now I further combine the small chunks to 3 bigger chunks. I think next Monday, the time, the people, right? And we'll with friend go to the cinema to do what? To see a French movie. So now I will leave a little bit of pause between each chunk. Now it will be 我觉得我下周一会跟朋友去电影院看一个法国电影a little bit slower. But each chunk should be faster and the pause you can do however long. 我觉得我下周一会跟朋友去电影院看一个法国电影。One more time. 我觉得我下周一会跟朋友去电影院看一个法国电影。And when you're comfortable with the longer chunks, now it's time to try to kill the gaps between the chunks, but keep the stress for 一、院 and 影So now let's do the natural way that how Chinese people speak So listen 我觉得我下周一会跟朋友去电影院看一个中国电影。A little bit crazy, but this how you can feel just feel a little about the rhythm where we put the stress and to put it in a big whole picture one more time 我觉得我下周一会跟朋友去电影院看中国电影。我觉得我下周一会跟朋友去看。非常好非常好。Why does everyone from Harbin say that? Actually, when I grow up, I'm like all the people surround me. They can speak like a dialect or in their accent with their family, but this is how I learn. I only learn this one language, and they happen to be the Mandarin, and there's no other accent for me. So and everyone say it's a standard one, and I got a certificate with the highest mark in the Mandarin test. So I believe it's very credential. How? So let's continue with the next part. So when I say how to make them pause. So one or two pieces of information details as a chunk in the beginning. This is how you try to group make your chunks. One or two pieces of details together, and each chunk better to be 3 to 7 pinyin. If you are Not comfortable, do 3 pinyin chunk. When you are getting more and more confident, try to make your chunk bigger, longer. 非常好。So let's take a look. For example, 我游泳, right? 我游泳. Here it's just the 3 pinyin, and you can simply say it together. 我游泳,我游泳. 非常好。And if you have the subject, time, verb, object, I suggest you to put the subject time as one chunk. No need to do like a 2-piece, since it's either it's you who are going to do this action on Sunday on this time. So we just group subject time and the verb object together. So 我星期天去游泳。我星期天去游泳。That's the reason, right? For the 天 and the 泳, the part to be stressed. And now with the preposition and the people, so with someone, right? So stress on the 天, 朋友 with 朋 and 泳, so 3 chunks. 我星期天跟朋友去游泳。我星期天跟朋友去游泳。非常好，非常好。And here, if you have a location always before the action. So, and the location always with a directional verb in front of it. So if it's not too long, location, verb, action, then you can put them together as one chunk. And the times, subject, time, preposition, people, you can put as one chunk, or you can do 4 chunks. How comfortably you feel, you do it how long. So I will do 4 chunks first. 我星期天跟朋友去游泳馆游泳。And 2 chunks. 我星期天跟朋友去游泳馆游泳。非常好。And if we have the length of time, the duration of time, that's always in the end of the sentence, usually between the verb and object. The length of time you can either put before the object or after the object. So here, since the verb object is one combination, so we better to pronounce all of them, this part together, this chunk as a whole, in order to let the listener understand what verb object phrase you are talking about. So here will be 我星期天跟朋友去游泳馆游1个小时泳。我星期天跟朋友去游泳馆游1个小时泳。非常好，非常好。So normally a normal sentence, the order will always be like this. Time before subject, after subject, and then the verb object. If you have details, you put between the verb object. Because the grammar, compared to many languages, the Mandarin, the grammar is relatively easy. So the order is very strict. And when the order is very strict, the listener can predict the information from your sentence. That's why how you group those details in the right order in the normal sentence, for the listener will also very easy to get those details, since the order is very clear. The times, subject, preposition, people, verb location, verb object with length of time. 好，非常好。But not all the sentences are like this, right? This is the normal order. So for the sentence with different structures, how do we put the stress and how do we use the intonation for those different structures? So first thing first, Kim Jong-un said, "Why is 朋友 in a weird way?" Because 有 is a neutral tone. So 朋 is the last one that we with the tone mark. Here I should eliminate the tone, third tone. So that's why 跟朋友 should be put the stress on 朋 very good. 好 and the verb 的 like when the degree complement, right, in this structure. So the degree complement structure, remember, is that when we use the degree complement somewhere in your context earlier, you have mentioned the verb object. So the action is already known. And now you want to give a degree for this action, for this verb. So that's why the verb is not important anymore, because it's already been mentioned in the previous sentence. That's why we have to put the stress on the complement part. So for example, they are happy. 他们高兴. And they happy to what degree? They happy to a degree that they jumped up. They jumped up. So the jumped up is a degree for how happy they are. So that's why in this sentence, although we put the stress on 性 in the first chunk, but in the whole sentence, the 跳了起来 is a degree that we need to put more stress. So together will be 他们高兴的跳了起来。他们高兴的跳了起来。So the complement, degree complement, we are giving more stress. 他们高兴的跳了起来。And for the next one, David play basketball. 打篮球打得非常好。So good. He played very well. He played perfect. 他打得非常好。So 非常好 is a degree for how they play. 打。And the first 打篮球, just to clarify, you are play the basketball. You are not playing ping pong, not playing other type of ball games. So here we put the stress on 球 and then the even higher intonation and the stress on 非常好. So again, 大卫打篮球打得非常好。大卫打篮球打得非常好。Very good. And next one is today's lamb. 今天的羊肉。今天的羊肉。Stress on the roll, right? The lamb from today. Being cooked. Be cooked. 做的。And the degree is 很好吃。很好吃。So the stress intonation on 很好吃. And all together, try to think about it in your mind how to say this one. Yes, 今天的羊肉做得很好吃。今天的羊肉做得很好吃。非常好，非常好。好。Next one will be this is a typical sentence structure in Chinese. So we have a subject, verb, object, the key structure of the sentence. And then we put a lot of meat, a lot of description for this object, the predicate. So for here, we have to stress in the description part. In English, people say like, I like the clothes that I bought yesterday. But the Chinese order is, I like the clothes. I like the clothes that I bought yesterday the clothes. So it's like a sandwich structure. We put the two bread on the side and the meat in the middle. the object, we always need to wait until the last minute to know what object we are talking about and what object is matching the verb previously mentioned. So in this structure, we need to put the stress on the description, the one before the. So here, like 我最喜欢I like the most. 我最喜欢我去年买的衣服I forgot to put the red color here So I like the most the one I bought last year, the clothes that I bought last year not this year, not the year before last year. It's I like the one that I bought last year. So 我最喜欢我去年买的衣服我最喜欢我去年买的衣服。So we put stress on this part. 我最喜欢我去年买的衣服。谢谢戴，谢谢小戴非常好，非常好。I like I bought yesterday clothes 对，非常好。Hard to say it in Chinese also 很好。好so next one will be that is the Chinese dish, right? So the key sentence is that is Chinese food. That is Chinese dish. 那是中国菜。那是中国菜。But it's not a common Chinese food. That's the Chinese food that my mom cooked. It's special. It's not I bought from a store, a restaurant. It's that my mom cooked by her hand. So that's why the intonation on 我妈妈做的，我妈妈做的那是我妈妈做的中国菜。那是我妈妈做的中国菜。非常好Again, 那是我妈妈做的中国菜。Each chunk fast, but in the whole sentence, you can feel the up and down 那是我妈妈做的中国菜。非常好。Next one 下一个那个学校是地方。That school is a place, not a normal place. What kind of place? 李老师工作了很多年的The teacher Li worked many years That school is a place where teacher Li 李老师工作了 worked 很多年的地方So here the description part is a little bit long, right? But we have to like squeeze it to make it fast in order to make it clear for the listener. Because if we pause in the middle, it will be that school is teacher Li. No, school cannot be a teacher, a person, right? And that school is a teacher Li worked. Also make no sense. So here we have no choice. We have to just try to say it as fast as possible since the description is too long. This one is very challenging. So it will be 那个学校是李老师工作了很多年的地方。那个学校是李老师工作了很多年的地方。If you want to make it more easy, you can put a pause before between the 是 and the 里 and another pause between the and the 地方 to make it like more easy to pronounce each chunk 那个学校是李老师工作了很多年的地方这个一点难这个a little bit tricky, but practice practice makes perfect. So, but when you see this kind of sentence, it's always to pronounce like this. 非常好。好。Now, or you can choose to break them to 2 sentences, right? If you feel it's hard to do in 1 sentence. So 那个学校是一个特别的地方。It's a special place. 李老师工作了很多年，李老师在那儿工作了很多年啊。So maybe 2 sentences easier for you to pronounce everything. 好 and now let's move on to the next one. And if we have an adverb in the sentence, we need to put the stress on the adverb. Adverb is always before the adjective or the verb, right? So here, let's see. I'm good, and we all very good. 我非常好，我们都非常好。So many people may wondering, 我非常好，非常 is adverb, right? 我们都非常好。Here, 非常 is also adverb. Why we don't put stress? It's because in the same sentence, the 非常好 already be mentioned. It's not a detail you need to repeat again. Now the new piece of detail is that we all very good. So that's why only put the stress on do for the second clause. It's enough. So this one will be 我非常好，我们都非常好我非常好，我们都非常好。Very good The next one if someone say nice to meet you 很高兴认识你。Here you want to reply me too, me too, nice to meet you too. So 我也很高兴认识你，我也很高兴认识你。非常好So you see the 很高兴认识你 it's very very tight together and the 也 with more stress 我也很高兴认识你非常好And next one this piece of clothes is too expensive, right? The stress on the 太这件衣服太贵了这件衣服太贵了非常好So stress on 太这件衣服太贵了。Your son's study score, the score of the test, so impressive, so amazing. 这么厉害，这么厉害这么 is so and 厉害 amazing, impressive. 你儿子的学习成绩这么厉害，你儿子的学习成绩这么厉害，非常好So also from the context, when we use the adverb, we are trying to put some emotion in the sentence, right? So the adverb is a very good word for us to convey this emotions, those feelings. If we just give it a very flat tone, it's not going to let the listener know you are happy about his son's score. You are not happy about to know someone, right? So we need the adverb to show your emotion, your feelings. 这件衣服太贵了 too expensive. 你儿子的学习成绩这么厉害Then the listener will know that you have this strong feeling about this matter. 非常好And also, other than the adverb, also there's a adverbial modifier. Also, it's before the verb. So let's see. Your cup, it's exactly over there. It's not at other place. It's exactly over there. So exactly in Chinese is 就 So 你的杯子就在那儿，你的杯子就在那儿。Without 就 is 你的杯子在那儿 right? Your cup is over there, but exactly there 你杯子就在那儿。You are giving the stress on this state 就在那儿，非常好。David's dog ran over 跑了过去过去 to go over ran over 跑了过去。So 大卫的狗跑了过去。Now we are giving a emotion. The David's dog ran over. It's like the dog is flying. It's as fast as flying. 飞一样的跑了过去。飞一样的跑了过去。非常好啊。So this sentence should be low, high, low, right? 大卫的狗飞一样的跑了过去。大卫的狗飞一样的跑了过去。非常好啊。This is a part where we put the stress 大卫的狗飞一样的跑了过去。非常好啊。And next one, my father is doctor. Every day he busy with his work. 我爸爸是医生，每天忙工作。busy with work. But in which way? 从早到晚。From morning to the night. 从早到晚。It's very, very tiring, very stressed. So 我爸爸是医生，每天从早到晚忙工作。每天从早到晚忙工作。So the adverbial modifier with the intonations. 非常好。好，let me see if anyone has questions so far. Very good. How? Let's continue. Now let's see. Also some logical stress on the questions and the answer. Anna says very useful, interesting. 谢谢 Anna. 谢谢 Anna. It's yeah. It's we. If you listen to your friends, 你听你的朋友说话。You can hardly notice that there are pause in the sentence, and you feel that the up and down, the rhythm, right, the flow. So this lesson is try to let everyone to be aware of those things. It's each individual, each word is not by themselves. They are actually have a friend in this sentence, and some parts are low, some parts are high, and we can build up those blocks one by one. It's like how we build a house, right? You need to know the blocks, and later on you can put them together to make it more naturally more strong. So if you feel now it's very difficult to catch up, don't worry. Just do it little by little. On the next session, the session tomorrow, I will give everyone the lesson how to build the small blocks. So tomorrow the class will be like this. How to make a two pinyin word together, how to make it more like a flow, one next to the other. So you will kill the distance, kill the gaps, and you won't feel the word are individual ones. But that's for tomorrow. Today we finish for this part. Let's continue with this part, the logical stress on questions and answer. 谢谢寇南，谢谢寇南。好so let's see the logical stress on questions and answer. So what does the logical stress mean? So for example, if you are making a question, of course you want to know that one piece of information that you make the question with, right? So we have to put the stress on the question word, the question pronoun, right? So here, whose pen is this? So the stress should be on who, right? 这是谁的笔？这是谁的笔？How many students does your school have? 你们学校有多少学生？你们学校有多少学生？So how many? 多少学生？Stress on the question 多少 What are you looking for? What are you looking for? 你在找什么？你在找什么？啊 And let's see these two sentences. It's more interesting. So you see, B is actually saying the same sentence without any stress. It should be 他在房间学习汉语呢。他在房间学习汉语呢。Right? So it's a fact. He's studying Chinese in his room right now. 他在房间学习汉语呢。Stress on 间 and 语。But now with the context, with the question before, so now A is asking, 谁在房间学习汉语呢？谁在房间学习汉语呢？ Who is studying Chinese in the room? It is him, right? It is him. It's not other people. It is him, and I'm answering your 谁 question. So, 他在房间学习汉语呢。他在房间学习汉语呢。Everything else is already given. No need to put stress, but stress on 他, very logically. And then where is he studying Chinese? 他在哪儿学习汉语呢？他在哪儿学习汉语呢？ He's in the room, not in other place. 他在房间学习汉语呢。他在房间学习汉语呢。So same sentence, you can put the stress in the different place, and then you are logically answer or making the question. 好 so let's see if I ask 他在房间做什么呢？他在房间做什么呢？What he's doing in the room. So the same answer, now the stress is on the last part, right? So 他在房间学习汉语呢。他在房间学习汉语呢。非常好，非常好啊。So that's the logical stress on question and the answer. Next one will be like a different type of questions. The questions with exception. So for connected Chinese only. 谢谢 Conan. Good. I will see your link later. Thank you for sharing. 谢谢. And here for yes or no question, we know yes or no is ma, right? Ma. So when we use ma is when we are not sure if it's yes or no. So here we put the stress on the verb, and then the ma also has an intonation rising. 你明天去学校吗？ We make the 学校 lower in order to highlight the ma and make it a yes or no question. We make the stress on 去 because later the 学校 will go down, because if the 去 is higher, the 学校 will be lower, and it's easier to make the ma the question in the end. 你明天去学校吗？你明天去学校吗？他们都知道这件事吗？他们都知道这件事吗？你都听懂了吗？你都听懂了吗？So here there's like a curve here in the ma question. And there's a similar one to ma, which is a particle of ba. Ba. Ba is when you are 80 or 90% sure about the answer. You just want to confirm, like, this book is yours, right? So it's like I'm pretty sure it's yours, but I still want to confirm a little bit. 是你的吧？是你的吧？ So since it's a kind of like a confirmation, so this ba is lower. Whereas ma is a yes or no is a 50%, 50-50 about yes or no. So that's why ma should be rising, and the ba is very low. So this book is yours, right? 这本书是你的吧？Tomorrow is Tuesday, right? 明天是星期二吧？明天是星期二吧？All the way go down 啊，so must be Tuesday tomorrow, right? 明天是星期二吧？It's already very close to Spring Festival. You bought the ticket already, right? Here, you bought the tickets already. 你买票了吧？你买票了吧？So the buy is falling, whereas my is rising. 你买票了吗？你买票了吗？你买票了吗？ I really don't have idea if you bought it or not. 你买票了吗？很好。And by Vilasania. Thank you for joining the class today, and hope to see you in tomorrow's class. 谢谢好 and let's see. Let's continue for the affirmative negative question are you going to the bank or not going to the bank tomorrow? So when it's affirmative and a negative question, the verb we are repeating twice, right? But the stress should be only appear on the first one, first verb. Second one just lighter compared to the first verb. 明天你去不去银行？明天你去不去银行？去不去银行啊？今天你忙不忙？今天你忙不忙？今天天气好不好？今天天气好不好啊？Let's see the second one. 这件衣服你喜欢不喜欢？这件衣服你喜欢不喜欢？So the stress always in the first one 这件衣服你喜欢不喜欢？11点多了，你睡不睡觉？你睡不睡觉？非常好And if we have to choose between A or B, alternative question, then the stress on the two options that's in the sentence, not the question, not 还是, but here we need to give the two options stress to let the listener pick, right? This one or that one. So here will be, do you like rice, 米饭, or noodle, 面条? So here, it's 你喜欢吃米饭还是吃面条？你喜欢吃米饭还是吃面条？ The options are highlighted for you to choose 你想今天去还是明天去？你想今天去还是明天去？非常好And you go to school by driving car or by sitting on the car? 你去学校是开车还是坐车？你去学校是开车还是坐车？这还是 is lower compared to the two options 非常好。I hope today's lesson is helpful for most of you guys, and we only have 2 minutes left. I don't know if you guys have any questions so far. Feel free to let me know if you have any question. And again, tomorrow I have another class on the italki platform. Tomorrow we will finish about today's lesson, and also, as I mentioned, I will introduce how to pronounce things in one chunk, how to make it more naturally and to kill the gap between each pinyin to sound more like a good flow of the sentences. And this is a WeChat group and the WhatsApp group for you to know more language tips. And also you can join the group for asking for today's material. If you would like a review, feel free to join the group here to know more details and tips in the future.很高兴看到大家谢谢安娜、美法丽 口南Colin、Laura、戴、小戴，谢谢你们来我的课，谢谢 Kim，谢谢大家如果有什么问题随时可以告诉我，在 italki 告诉我谢谢谢谢thank you guys and 明天见 see you guys tomorrow and feel free to send me on italki and message on italki and see you guys soon 再见谢谢再见
Con Lingui encontrarás personas nativas dispuestas a ayudarte a practicar el idioma que desees aprender. Los usuarios con tiempo libre se mostrarán disponibles para recibir llamadas y de esta forma ganarán recompensas ayudando a otros usuarios. Así es como conectamos personas de forma colaborativa y gratuita en nuestra aplicación. Únete a nuestra comunidad, haz nuevos amigos y mejora en todos los idiomas que quieras. Descarga Lingui y practiquemos juntos.
Este es Peter. Está aprendiendo chino. Ha intentado estudiar por su cuenta con libros, tarjetas de vocabulario y aplicaciones móviles, pero sigue teniendo problemas para hablar. Esta es María. Le encanta aprender inglés, pero no tiene oportunidades para ponerlo en práctica. Con italki, Peter y María pueden recibir clases personales online para hablar con fluidez en otro idioma. Tú también puedes aprender un idioma en italki. Empieza hoy en 3 simples pasos. Primero, elige un idioma. Inglés, alemán, chino, francés, japonés. Italki tiene profesores para cualquier idioma. Segundo, escoge un profesor. Con italki puedes escoger entre miles de profesores con experiencia de todo el mundo. Tercero, elige el horario de tu lección. Las clases de idiomas online son el mejor método para aprender con profesores nativos. Con italki tendrás un profesor de idiomas personal y conversaciones reales con hablantes nativos. Cada día miles de personas aprenden con profesores internacionales a través de italki. Encuentra un profesor hoy y domina el idioma de tu lección.
Hi everyone, it's Vicente and I teach Spanish on italki.com. And today we will be talking about 3 grammar rules to follow when you start learning Spanish. The first one is that, as you have already heard, Spanish verbs are always conjugated. That means that they have to match with the subject of the sentence. For example, there are different pronouns in Spanish. Yo, tú, él, ella, usted, nosotros, nosotras, vosotros, vosotras, and ellos, ellas, y ustedes. All these pronouns have their own conjugations, and it's very common for beginners to mix them up. So remember this. When you start to conjugate the verbs, they have to match. The second rule is very important as well. The Spanish nouns and adjectives has to be in the same level. Let me explain you this. If you have a noun that is feminine and plural, for example, las mujeres, the adjective that you have to use right after the noun has to be feminine and plural as well. For example, las mujeres españolas. It is the same with the articles las, female and plural. We use this article because, as I say, it's female and plural. The third rule I already mentioned before, and be careful, English speakers, because the adjectives in Spanish go after the noun, not before like in English. This is very common for students that learn Spanish and already speak or know English. When I say it, las mujeres españolas, españolas is the adjective, and I put it after las mujeres. In English, it would be Spanish woman, but not in Spanish. Okay, there are some occasions where the adjectives go before the nouns. That is true, but normally this use comes out at intermediate level or advanced level, so do not worry when you are a beginner. Thanks for watching this video, and don't forget to subscribe to the italki YouTube channel over here. Take a lesson with me on italki.com by clicking on my teacher profile link in the description. Hasta luego! Hi everyone, it's Vicente and I teach Spanish on italki.com, and today I will be talking about 7 Spanish words that are similar to their English counterpart. These words are also known as cognates. What a cognate is? A cognate is a word that has the same linguistic derivation that another word, and it looks similar, and when you pronounce it, it sounds almost the same. And here I will give you 7 cognates so you can use them in Spanish as well. The first one is alcohol in Spanish. Guess you know what it means, because it sounds pretty similar than in English, doesn't it? Number 2 is conclusión. This one has a different pronunciation in Spanish, but you will understand definitely when you start learning Spanish. Number 3, hobby. This one is completely similar. We basically took this word from English. Number 4, individual. Of course, it's the same word, just different pronunciation. The next one, number 5, is piercing. Yes, we use this word with the same pronunciation and meaning. Next one, number 6, is informal. I like to use this one in my lessons to explain ways to greet and say goodbye because it's similar in English and is a word that the students understand very quickly. And the last are some words related to sports. If you're learning Spanish and you like sports, you're lucky because most of the words are cognates like football, tennis, baseball, volleyball, hockey, water polo, golf, surf, and so on. As you can see, almost all sports are cognates. So, talking about your hobbies should not be difficult. As you can see, there are many, and I would like to remember you that there are hundreds of cognates, and if you check them, you can be ready to your first Spanish lesson. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the italki YouTube channel for more tips on learning Spanish. Take a lesson with me on italki.com by clicking on my teacher profile link in the description. Hasta luego!
Hi everyone, it's Caroline here and I teach English on italki. Today I am going to be talking about business idioms, or idioms you might hear in your office or in your workplace. A student asked me a really good question the other day. He asked me whether, because I'm a native English speaker, do I know every single idiom? And the answer is no. Idioms are phrases or expressions that come from a particular place or a particular age group. So idioms are different in the UK to idioms in the United States. I have chosen 5 business idioms to talk to you about today, and you may hear them in an office in the UK or in the States. So hopefully they will be super useful for you. Idiom number 1 is the big picture. Imagine you go into a meeting and your boss says to you, you've lost sight of the big picture. What does that mean? That means that you are thinking too much about the small details of the project, and you are so interested in those little details that you don't remember what it is you're trying to achieve. So always keep sight of the big picture. The second idiom is to go the extra mile. Now imagine you're in an interview and the interviewer says to you that they are looking for someone who always goes the extra mile. What does that mean? Does it mean they want you to run around the office every day? No, it means they want you to do more than just what is in the job description. They want you to go that little bit further and to take on extra responsibilities. That is going the extra mile. The third idiom is a win-win situation. A win-win situation means everybody gains something. A really good example of this is these videos that I'm making for italki. italki gains some content for their website, some lessons for their learners, and I have a platform where students can see me and book lessons with me. It's a win-win. italki wins and Caroline wins. The fourth idiom is word of mouth. So an example of this is, think about how you found out about italki. Did you find italki by searching on Google? Or did you find italki because one of your friends recommended it to you? Recommendations from friends are word of mouth. It can be positive or it can be negative. If your company gets bad word of mouth, it is going to be a very difficult time for your company because people really listen to the opinions of their friends. So make sure whatever you do, you have good word of mouth about it. The fifth and final business idiom is to touch base. My manager used to say this to me a lot. To touch base means to have a very quick and short meeting about a project or something that you are working on. It might only be 5 minutes of your time, but in that time, you will check that your understanding of the project is the same as your manager's understanding of the project. So I have a challenge for you. In your next lesson, I want you to ask your teacher if you can touch base about what you have learned in your lessons so far. This could be 5 minutes at the end of the lesson where you review all of the different subjects that you have been studying. You're touching base about the things you have covered so far. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to italki by clicking somewhere. And you can take a lesson with me by clicking on my teacher profile in the description box. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.
Welcome back to the Stop Being Boring When Speaking English video series. When speaking to native English speakers, it's useful to use a variety of vocabulary to make your conversation sound more interesting and flow. Why not spice up your language a little bit and impress others with your speaking abilities? In this next video, we will take a look at some American and British slang.
Number 1, American. John Hancock.
John Hancock.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a person,
It's a name of a person, yes.
and it's American slang.
Mm-hmm. What do you think it means?
I just got John Hancock. Does it mean like wasted?
Certainly not.
Give me an example.
Okay, so can I please have your John Hancock at the bottom of this paper? Come on, you gotta get it now.
Is it your signature?
Yes, you got it! That was easy.
Okay, awesome. Number 1, British. Peak. What does peak mean?
Like, taking a peek.
No, that's
Sorry, that's not taking a peek.
That's not slang.
This is taking a peek.
But that's just like taking a peek. That's not slang.
Oh.
Like in a slang context.
Peak. Like the peak of a mountain? That's not slang. That's actually
Yeah, that is the peak of a mountain.
I don't know. Tell me.
Okay, let me give you an example. So say you go out one night and you lose your purse, your keys.
Is it like the most horrible situation you can be in?
Yeah, exactly. You'd be like, that's so peak. You'd be like, oh, yeah. How was your night? It was so peak.
I just got fired. That's so peak.
Exactly. So it's like the peak of badness, I guess.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the peak.
2, American. Jacked.
Jacked. Does that mean like hench?
What does hench mean?
Like say you go to the gym.
Don't answer back with the slang word.
So the British equivalent of jacked would be hench, I think. So if someone's like really ripped.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So hench.
Go to the gym, work out a
You're
lot.
like, whoa, look at him, he's so jacked.
We would say hench. Number 2, British. Peng. 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 P-E-N-G. Peng.
Like someone being hanged on the head with something, or
Just
thinking of bang and hanging kind of similar. I don't know.
I guess it's a little similar. No.
Give me an example.
Okay, so for example, say you're eating a cake, it's delicious, you can say.
皆さん、こんにちは。私はあつこです。Thank you for visiting my class. 私はタイのバンコクに住んでいます。バンコクは今、夜の7時です。皆さんは今どこに住んでいますか？どこでこのライブを見ていますか？チャットに書いてください。皆さんはどこに住んでいますか？アレックスさん、こんばんは。アレックスさんは今どこでこのビデオを見ていますか？横浜市に住んでいます。あ、そうですか。ニックさん、こんばんは。じゃあもう一つ質問します。皆さんはどのくらい日本語を勉強していますか？どのくらい日本語を勉強していますか？チャットに書いてください。どのくらいデュレーションですよ。わかりますか？1ヶ月、2ヶ月、1年、2年。はい。じゃあ、今日は助詞、パーティクルを勉強します。パーティクルは、皆さん、パーティクルが好きですか？パーティクルは簡単ですか？ Particle are very small words, but actually particle is very important because it means the meaning of the sentence. ね、はい。I met many Japanese learners who look speaking fluently but omit particles or use incorrect particles when they speak. But actually, particle is not so difficult. It's very logical. Once you understand this logic, I'm sure you'll be able to use correct particles when you make sentences. So don't worry. では、一緒に勉強しましょう。皆さん、紙とペンがありますか？今日はたくさんクイズをしますから、紙とペンを用意してください。Okay? So I want you to try my quizzes, so please prepare a pen and paper. Okay? はい。Let me check the chat. I can't read chat message on YouTube.はい。では、最初の問題です。じゃあ、絵を見てください。はい。見えますか？大丈夫ですか？はい。じゃあ、write appropriate particle for each parenthesis. Some of them may not take a particle. In that case, please write but. Yes. You don't need to write the whole sentence. Only particles です。私は2回読みます。Let me check the chat. OK。はい。じゃあ1番。私は毎朝、彼、電車、大学、行きます。私は毎朝、彼、電車、大学、行きます。I will check the correct answer after we finish question 3、ね。はい。じゃあ2。何スーパー行きますか？自転車行きます。そうですか。誰行きますか？一人行きます。もう一度読みます。何スーパー行きますか？自転車行きます。そうですか。誰行きますか？一人行きます。3、ジョンさんはアメリカ来ました。今、東京住んでいます。東京大学経済勉強しています。3、ジョンさんはアメリカ来ました。今、東京住んでいます。東京大学経済勉強しています。では、答えをチェックします。1、私は毎朝、×です。彼と電車で大学に or 大学へ行きます。大学に OK です。大学へも OK です。meaning は same です。はい。アレックスさん、電車は train ですよ。電車。はい。じゃあ2番。なんでスーパーに or スーパーへ行きますか？自転車で行きます。そうですか。誰と行きますか？一人で行きます。3、ジョンさんはアメリカから来ました。今、東京に住んでいます。東京の大学で経済を勉強しています。さあ、皆さんどうでしたか？全部わかりましたか？ニックさん全部わかりましたか？質問はありませんか？ If you have any questions, feel free to ask me on the chat. 大丈夫ですか？ちょっと私の部屋は暑いので、エアコンを強くします。OK。はい、大丈夫ですか？じゃあ次行きますよ。じゃあ、この問題のポイントをチェックしますね。質問がありません。お、全部わかりました。素晴らしいです。はい。じゃあ、ポイントです。よいしょ。はい。トランスポーテーション。車で行きます。自転車で行きます。飛行機で行きます。トランスポーテーションのパーティクルはでです。でも、一つエクセプションがありますよ。on foot は歩いて行きますです。次は person のパーティクルです。友達と行きます。家族と行きます。彼と行きます。person とです。これも一つエクセプションがありますよ。一人で行きます。alone は一人でです。では次は movement の origin です。origin のパーティクルはからです。アメリカから来ました。フランスから来ました。デスティネーションはに or へです。はい。で、normally に is more often used than へですね。はい。でも both are okay です。はい。私は日本からタイに来ました。一人で来ました。 飛行機で来ました。はい、ここまで OK ですか？質問ありませんか？では、次の問題です。よいしょ。はい。では、また紙に答えを書いてください。私は2回読みます。1、今年8月、日本行きます。2、毎日ここ来ます。毎日ここ来ます。3、5月12日、国帰ります。5月12日、国帰ります。4、今朝6時起きました。今朝6時起きました。春宝さん、こんにちは。はじめまして。はい。じゃあ5番です。今日午後2時、4時勉強します。今日午後2時、4時勉強します。6、来年3月、ロンドン行きます。それからそこ働きます。来年3月、ロンドン行きます。それからそこ働きます。7、テストは10時です。次はダブルパーティクルですよ。9時50分来てください。テストは10時です。9時50分来てください。わかりましたか？では答えをチェックします。1、今年の8月に日本へ行きます。2、毎日、×ですね。ここに、ここへ来ます。5月12日に国へ帰ります。今朝、6時に起きました。今日の午後、2時から4時まで勉強します。来年の3月にロンドンへ行きます。それからそこで働きます。テストは10時からです。9時50分までに来てください。さあ、皆さんどうでしたか？全部わかりましたか？ちょっと難しかったですか？何か質問はありませんか？質問はチャットに書いてください。大丈夫ですか？ダブルパーティクルもわかりましたか？では、この問題のポイントをチェックしましょう。9時12日5月2023年ナンバーがありますね。ナンバーがあります。パーティクル2がありますよ。9時に行きます。12日に行きます。それから、春宝さん大丈夫。はい、ありがとうございます。はい、誕生日エトセトラ。これはスペシャルデーです。クリスマス、バレンタインデー、 などですね。父の日、母の日。誕生日に行きます。スペシャルデーはナンバーがありませんが、に行きますですよ。それから、曜日、日曜日に行きます。曜日のには sometimes omitted です。日曜日に行きます。OK です。日曜日行きます。も OK です。はい。では、下です。朝、昼、晩、夜。今日、昨日、明日、etc. ナンバーがありません。にはありません。time with number or special day はに。time without number はにがありませんよ。はい。ここまで質問はありませんか？大丈夫ですか？では、ちょっと練習しましょう。はい。じゃあ、絵を見てください。よいしょ。はい。じゃあ、例、エグザンプル。これは東京です。いつ東京に行きますか？春宝さん、私は日本語を知りません。but you wrote in perfect Japanese ですね。Keep it up. はい。EX example 東京です。いつ東京に行きますか？アンサーは July next year です。July next year は日本語で何ですか？ B さんのアンサーをチャットに書いてください。いつ東京に行きますか？チャットに答えを書いてください。いつ東京に行きますか？ Try next year は日本語で何ですか？スーパーさん、来年の4月、スーパーさん、complete sentence。わかりましたか？答えは、来年の7月に行きます。です。7月はナンバーがありますね。英語の July はナンバーがありませんが、日本語の7月はナンバーですから、来年の7月に行きますです。にがありますよ。じゃあ、1番はどうですか？バンクは日本語で何ですか？銀行ですね。いつ銀行に行きますか？スーパーさん、来年の7月に行きます。OK です。はい。はい。いつ銀行に行きますか？ tomorrow afternoon。B さんの答えは tomorrow afternoon です。日本語で何ですか？いつ銀行に行きますか？答えは明日の昼、afternoon ですよ。afternoon。昼は11時も昼ですね。10時も昼です。明日、ナナさん、明日、SHI、明日の午後行きます。明日の午後行きます。そう。ナナさん、明日の午後にはありませんよ。ナナさん、time without part without number は2がありません。明日の午後行きます。ですね。はい。YouTube はどうかな。明日の午後行きます。そう、スーパーさん OK です。明日の午後行きます。じゃあ、3番どうですか？ 3 番。3番はアートミュージアムです。いつ美術館に行きますか？いつ美術館に行きますか？ダイアンさんかな？ How to pronounce? ダイアンさん、明日の午後銀行に行きます。In the answer, you can omit the destination. because we already know we are talking about 銀行ですね。はい。3番どうですか？いつ美術館に行きますか？いつ美術館に行きますか？にありますか？ありませんか？答えは3時に行きます。3時に行きます。3時ナンバーですね。にがありますね。はい。じゃあもう一つ、すみません。じゃあ7お願いします。クリスマス。はい。これはレストランです。いつクリスマスに行きますか？いつクリスマスに行きますか？ダイアンさん3時に行きます。OK。はい。7番はどうですか？いつレストランに行きますか？クリスマス、カタカナ大丈夫ですか？いつレストランに行きますか？答えはクリスマスに行きます。そうです。ニックさん OK です。クリスマスに行きます。スペシャルデーは2ですね。OK です。はい。質問はありませんか？大丈夫かな？クリスマスに行きます。はい。ダイアンさんも OK です。はい。皆さんね、センテンスの in the end of the sentence 丸書きましょうね。ピリオドね。はい。では、次は、よいしょ。はい。まで versus までに。までは continuation です。今晩9時まで勉強します。7時、8時、9時、continue 9時まで勉強します。までにはデッドラインです。明日までにレポートを書かなければなりません。今日書きます。OK です。明日デッドラインです。はい。じゃあ1番です。までですか？までにですか？チョイスしてください。はい。じゃあ、we'll check the correct answer after we finish. No. We can check one by one. はい。じゃあ1、来週の火曜日、この本を返してください。来週の火曜日、この本を返してください。これは continuation ですか？デッドラインですか？月曜日に返します。OK ですね。日曜日に返します。OK です。デッドラインですから、までにです。じゃあ2、来週の火曜日、この本を借りてもいいですか？来週の火曜日、この本を借りてもいいですか？日曜日、月曜日、火曜日ずっと借りていますから、火曜日までです。3、午後出かけますから、11時、お風呂に入ってください。10時半にお風呂に入ります。いいです。10時45分にお風呂に入ります。いいです。11時はデッドラインですから、までにです。4番、仕事が多かったですから、11時働きました。どうですか？8時、9時、10時、11時ずっと働きましたから、コンティニュエーションまでですね。5、パーティーは9時からですから、8時半、ケーキを持ってきてください。これはどうですか？8時20分にケーキを持ってきます。いいです。8時25分に持ってきます。いいです。8時35分に持っていきます。ダメです。デッドラインです。までにです。6、来週の木曜日、漢字を30覚えなければなりません。これはどうですか？火曜日に漢字を覚えます。いいです。水曜日に30全部覚えます。いいです。木曜日はデッドラインですから、までにです。 7番です。来週の木曜日、毎日テストがあります。毎日です。日曜日は学校が休みですね。月曜日、火曜日、水曜日、木曜日、毎日。コンティニューですから、までです。はい。皆さんどうでしたか？皆さん書きました。1番までに、2番まで、3までに。いいですね。4番はコンティニューですから、までですね。デッドラインじゃありませんね。はい。5番まで。5番は、ダイアンさん5番までに、OK。ダナさん5番。デッドラインはまでにですよ。はい。質問はありませんか？ If you have any questions, you can feel free to write on the chat anytime. ね。はい、OK ですか？じゃあ、次いきますよ。次の問題です。よいしょ。はい。じゃあ、私は2回読みます。紙に答えを書いてください。1、学校、スイス人、友達、います。学校、スイス人、友達、います。2、うち、近く、銀行、あります。うち、近く、銀行、あります。3、箱、中、何、ありません。箱、中、何、ありません。4、渋谷に、渋谷は it's name of area in Tokyo ですね。はい、there's a very famous intersection in front of 渋谷 station です。はい、渋谷にデパート、レストランなどがあります。渋谷にデパート、レストランなどがあります。5、私、携帯、机、上、あります。私、携帯、机、上、あります。6、私、2017年、バンコク、住んでいます。私、2017年、バンコク、住んでいます。7、駅、近く、ホテル、泊まります。駅、近く、ホテル、泊まります。全部わかりましたか？では、答えをチェックします。学校にスイス人の友達がいます。2、うちの近くに銀行があります。近くはロケーションナウンです。うちはナウンですね。近くもナウンです。ナウンとナウンのコネクターはのですね。うちの近く。3番、箱の中に何もありません。中もロケーションナウンです。箱はナウン。中もナウン。箱の中です。何もありません。ネガティブは何もです。4、渋谷にデパートやレストランなどがあります。これはデパートとレストランはダメですよ。渋谷にデパートとレストランだけじゃありませんね。会社、銀行、病院、 大学、いろいろな建物があります。etc. はデパートやレストランです。私の携帯は机の上にあります。6、私は2017年からバンコクに住んでいます。It's about myself です。はい、ラストです。7、駅の近くのホテルに泊まります。はい。OK ですか？住んでいます。泊まりますは place にですよ。でじゃありませんよ。住む、泊まる。バンコクに住んでいます。ホテルに泊まりますです。はい。どうでしたか？はい。ニックさん、7番わかりません？駅の近くのホテル。はい。近くはナウンですね。ホテルもナウンですね。ナウンとナウンのコネクターはのですね。駅の近くのホテル。うん。横浜駅の前の学校とかですね。はい。はい、質問ありませんか？セリアさん。すみません。わかりません。何語だろう。はい。じゃあ、この問題の答えを、ポイントをチェックしますね。はい。じゃあ、2つセンテンスパターンがありますよ。1つ目は、プレイスにナウンがあります。例えば、机の上に本があります。机の上に本があります。本は new information ですね。次はトピックはプレイスにあります。例えば、私の家はバンコクにあります。バンコク、new information ですね。では、下の会話を作りましょう。A さん、B さんの部屋、何ありますか？どうですか？ B さんの部屋に何がありますか？テレビや冷蔵庫、ベッドなどがあります。new information ですね。何がクエスチョンのアンサーはナウンがですよ。はい、じゃあ次です。A さん、冷蔵庫どこありますか？冷蔵庫どこありますか？冷蔵庫トピックです。どこにありますか？ B さん、ドアの横あります。ドアの横にあります。どこにクエスチョンのアンサーはプレイスにですよ。はい。I thought that 近き。ダナさん、近く is adverb。近くは noun ですよ。アジェティブは近いです。はい。では、次の問題をしましょうか。大丈夫ですか？ニックさん、are there other ways to say beside as well? Other way, 横。私の横に犬がいます。私の横に犬がいます。隣は、building と building。うちの隣にコンビニがあります。building。ね。はい。そうそう、隣。Maybe you wanted to know the word 隣。ね。隣は building。人。私の隣に山田さんがいます。人。same カテゴリーです。ドアと冷蔵庫は same カテゴリーじゃありませんから、横です。私の横に犬がいます。人です。犬です。same カテゴリーじゃありません。ね。はい。旦那さん、近い。ありがとう。どういたしまして。ニックさん、隣 is only for buildings。人も OK ですよ。人。If they're in the same category and I use 横。 うちの横に銀行があります。まあ、OK ですね。山田さんの横に佐藤さんがいます。OK です。横はボスは OK ね。はい。はい。隣のトトロ。トトロもセームカテゴリーですかね。わかりません。はい。じゃあ次の問題です。はい。次は、はを書きません。はい。じゃあまた紙に答えを書いてください。2回読みます。1、誕生日、母、本、もらいました。誕生日、母、本、もらいました。2、山田さんはフランス人、学生、日本語、教えます。山田さんはフランス人、学生、日本語、教えます。3、バルセロナ、アナ先生、1ヶ月、スペイン語、習いました。バルセロナ、アナ先生、1ヶ月、スペイン語、習いました。4、携帯、花、写真、撮って、友達、送りました。携帯、花、写真、撮って、友達、送りました。5は conversation です。A さん、お父さん、お金、借りましたか？ B さん、いいえ、銀行、10万円、借りました。お父さん、お金、借りましたか？いいえ、銀行、10万円、借りました。5はちょっとトリッキーですよ。では、答えをチェックします。1、誕生日に、スペシャルデーですね。誕生日に、母に本をもらいました。2、山田さんはフランス人の学生に日本語を教えます。3、バルセロナでアナ先生に1ヶ月スペイン語を習いました。1ヶ月はデュレーションですね。デュレーションの後にパーティクルはいつもありませんよ。4、携帯で花の写真を撮って友達に送りました。携帯でのではトゥールのでですね。ペンで書きます。ナイフとフォークで食べます。携帯で写真を撮ります。5、お父さんにお金を借りましたか？いいえ、銀行から10万円借りました。銀行ではダメですよ。これはお金のリソースです。プレイスじゃありません。銀行はリソースです。銀行から借りました。人に借ります。銀行は人じゃありません。オーガニゼーション、グループ、カンパニーはからを使いますよ。じゃあ、エグザンプルです。皆さんは皆さんはセールスパーソンです。今月、セールスがナンバーワンでした。会社は皆さんにプライズをあげました。時計をあげました。皆さんは会社から時計をもらいました。会社にじゃありません。会社は人じゃありませんから、会社からもらいました。ですよ。10万円借りました。10万円。quantity、number の、quantity とカウンターワードの次は、パーティクルはいつもありませんよ。 さあ、難しかったですか？どうですか？わかりましたか？質問はチャットに書いてくださいね。私はちょっと水を飲みます。大丈夫ですか？では、この問題のポイントをチェックします。A さんは giver です。B さんは receiver です。A さんは B さんに花をあげました。A さんは B さんにペンを貸しました。A さんは B さんに英語を教えました。A さんは B さんに電話をかけました。A さんは B さんにメールを送りました。receiver のパーティクルはいつもにですね。オブジェクトのパーティクルはいつもをです。とてもシンプルですね。では次は B さん、receiver がサブジェクトです。B さんは A さんに花をもらいました。B さんは A さんにペンを借りました。B さんは A さんに英語を習いました。B さんは A さんに電話をもらいました。B さんは A さんにメールをもらいました。giver のパーティクルはいつもにですね。オブジェクトはいつもをです。とてもシンプルですね。はい、質問ありませんか？はい。ニックさん、go to head out for now. Thank you for the particle. どういたしまして。旦那さん、簡単だけど、覚えるのはちょっと難しいです。簡単です。覚えます。もう大丈夫です。はい。では、じゃあ、ちょっとドリルをします。はい。誰に何をバブましたか？じゃあ、1番見てください。すみません。はい。左の女の人は佐藤さんです。右の男の人は山田さんです。では、私は皆さんに質問をします。チャットに答えを書いてください。いいですか？佐藤さんは誰にパンチを貸しましたか？佐藤さんは誰にパンチを貸しましたか？チャットに答えを書いてください。旦那さん、センテンスをお願いします。センテンス。佐藤さんは誰にパンチを貸しましたか？まだコンプリートじゃありませんね。答えは山田さんに貸しましたです。山田さんに貸しましたですよ。はい、皆さんセンテンスコンプリートしてくださいね。では、2番です。木村さんは、旦那さんできました。山田さんに貸しました。はい、OK です。2番いきますよ。じゃあ、高橋さんは誰に電話をかけましたか？高橋さんは誰に電話をかけましたか？わかりましたか？高橋さんは誰に電話をかけましたか？ 木村さんに電話をかけました。旦那さん、in the answer you can omit the object. そう、木村さんにかけました。is enough ですよ。はい。では、じゃあ3番です。あれ、これじゃない。3番。よいしょ。はい。じゃあ質問です。サントスさんは、ラン先生に何を習いましたか？サントスさんは、ラン先生に何を習いましたか？ダイアンさん2番、木村さんをかけました。電話をかけました。木村さんに電話をかけました。パーソンにですよ。はい、3番、サントスさんはラン先生に何を習いましたか？わかりましたか？ニーハオは何ですか？英語、日本語、中国語。わかりましたか？ 3 番、サントスさんはラン先生に何を習いましたか？答えは、中国語を習いました。中国語を習いました。ね。はい。じゃあ、5しましょうか。5。佐藤さんは田中さんに何をもらいましたか？佐藤さんは田中さんに何をもらいましたか？わかりましたか？この大きいボトルは何ですか？ワインじゃありませんね。佐藤さんは田中さんに何をもらいましたか？ナナさん、お酒をもらいました。もらいました。もらえましたじゃありません。もらいましたです。はい、OK です。そう、お酒ですね。お酒をもらいました。じゃあ、6番もしましょうか。6番。お母さんは、ケン君に何をあげましたか？はい、旦那さん、もらいまshita もらいました。6番、お母さんは、ケン君に何をあげましたか？お母さんは、ケン君に何をあげましたか？ダイアンさん、what's this 漢字? I can't read. ナナさん、お金をあげました。listen to my question again. お母さん、sorry, お金をあげました。OK。旦那さん、パーフェクトです。お金をあげました。はい。ですか？お母さんはケン君にお金をあげました。いいですね。私も欲しいです。はい。ここまで質問はありませんか？大丈夫ですか？じゃあ、次のクイズをしますよ。だんだん難しくなりますよ。ちょっと待って、よいしょ。はい。また、はを書きません。1、お腹空きましたから、レストラン入ります。お腹空きましたから、レストラン入ります。2、東京大学出てから、京都働きました。東京大学出てから、京都働きました。3、カバン、本入れます。カバン、本 入れます。カバン、本、出して、机、上、置きます。カバン、本、出して、机、上、置きます。5、漢字、読み方、わかりませんから、先生、聞きます。5、漢字、読み方、わかりませんから、先生、聞きます。6、A 駅、電車、乗ります。A 駅、電車、乗ります。7、B 駅、電車、降りて、バス、乗り換えます。B 駅、電車、降りて、バス、乗り換えます。では、答えをチェックしましょう。1、お腹が空きましたから、レストランに入ります。2、東京の大学を出てから、京都で働きました。3、カバンに本を入れます。4、カバンから本を出して、机の上に置きます。上はロケーションナウンですね。机もナウンです。ナウンのナウンですよ。5、漢字の読み方がわかりませんから、先生に聞きます。読み方、漢字を読みます。わかりません。読み方がわかりません。しゃぶしゃぶを食べます。食べます。どうやってわかりません。食べ方がわかりません。漢字を書きます。わかりません。書き方がわかりません。ですね。読み方、食べ方、書き方はナウンですよ。漢字の読み方、ナウンのナウンですよ。先生に聞きます。この聞きますは listen, hear じゃありません。ask です。6番、A 駅で電車に乗ります。乗るはアクションバーブですね。A 駅でアクションのプレイスです。7、B 駅で電車を降りてバスに乗り換えます。降りる、降りてもアクションバーブですから B 駅でアクションのプレイスですね。さあ、どうでしたか？アレックスさん、ファイナット京都に働きます。アレックスさん、働きます。アクションバーブですね。アクションのプレイスはでですよ。レストランで食べます。日本で勉強します。働きますはアクションです。京都で働きますです。はい、他に質問はありませんか？では、この問題のポイントをチェックしましょう。アレックさんわかりました。OK です。では、ポイントをチェックします。はい。ターゲットにスターティングポイントを、じゃあまずターゲットの2です。レストランに入ります。大学に入ります。電車に乗ります。ロンドンに到着します。到着しますは arrive です。バスに乗り換えます。カバンに入れます。ノートに書きます。机の上に置きます。全部ターゲットですね。では次はスターティングポイントのおです。レストランを出ます。大学を出ます。この出るは graduate ですよ。電車を降ります。ロンドンを出発します。出発するは depart です。どうですか？質問はありませんか？ ちょっとチャットをチェックしますね。大丈夫。はい。では、最後のクイズです。はい。ちょっと難しいですよ。7番はダブルパーティクルです。では、1から始めます。昨日、雨、降っています。昨日、雨、降っています。トイレ、ドア、開いています。トイレ、ドア、開いています。3、天気、いいですから、公園、散歩します。天気、いいですから、公園、散歩します。4、あの橋、渡ると、銀行、あります。あの橋、渡ると、銀行、あります。5、このプロジェクト、終わったら、1ヶ月、日本、旅行したいです。このプロジェクト、終わったら、1ヶ月、日本、旅行したいです。プロジェクトは英語のプロジェクトですよ。6、ビール飲みますが、ワイン飲みません。ビール飲みますが、ワイン飲みません。7、友達飲みに行きますが、父行きません。友達飲みに行きますが、父行きません。さあ、どうでしたか？では、答えをチェックしましょう。1、昨日から雨が降っています。これは降っていますですから、今も降っています。パストテンスじゃありませんね。昨日からコンティニューですね。2、トイレのドアが開いています。3、天気がいいですから公園を散歩します。4、あの橋を渡ると銀行があります。5、このプロジェクトが終わったら1ヶ月、日本を旅行したいです。1ヶ月はデュレーションですね。デュレーションの後にパーティクルはいつもありませんよ。日本で旅行したいです。じゃありません。日本を旅行したいです。旅行します。モーションバーブのプレイスはをです。3の公園を散歩します。も同じですよ。6、ビールは飲みますが、ワインは飲みません。はい。先週の私のレッスンで、マンゴーは好きですが、ドリアンは好きじゃありません。コントラストの和を勉強しました。ビール飲みます。ワイン飲みません。コントラストの和ですよ。7、友達とは飲みに行きますが、父とは行きません。友達と行きます。父と行きません。これもコントラストの和ですよ。ちょっと難しかったですか？公園はターゲットじゃありませんね。ターゲットはこれから行きますね。公園を散歩しますは公園の中にいますね。はい。ダイアンさん、Where can we find this PowerPoint for revision? スクリーンショットお願いします。ダイアンさん。スクリーンショット。はい。はい。じゃあ、アレックスさん、I'll explain that in my next PowerPoint ですね。はい。じゃあ、見てください。はい。まず、サブジェクトが intransitive verb。雨が降ります。お釣りが出ます。ドアが閉まります。私のアクションじゃありません。私は何もしません。サブジェクトがです。次は course。トランジットポイントをですね。はい。道を歩きます。うちの近くを通ります。10時を過ぎます。 公園を散歩します。これですね。道を歩きます。道に私は何もしません。パスだけです。パスはおですよ。このおはオブジェクトのおじゃありません。それからダブルパーティクル。えは、には、とは、では、からは、えも、にも、とも、でも、からも、などありますよ。東京へは行きますが、大阪へは行きません。京都へも行きません。これはちょっとアドバンスのグラマーですね。はい。はい。じゃあ今日の勉強はこれで終わります。皆さんお疲れ様でした。たくさんクイズをしましたね。はい。じゃあ if you want to study Japanese more, you can visit italki website and feel free to take my trial lesson. では皆さんさようなら。
dispuestas a ayudarte a practicar el idioma que desees aprender. Los usuarios con tiempo libre se mostrarán disponibles para recibir llamadas y de esta forma ganarán recompensas ayudando a otros usuarios. Así es como conectamos personas de forma colaborativa y gratuita en nuestra aplicación. Únete a nuestra comunidad, haz nuevos amigos y mejora en todos los idiomas que quieras. Descarga Lingvi y practiquemos juntos.
Este es Peter. Está aprendiendo chino. Ha intentado estudiar por su cuenta con libros, tarjetas de vocabulario y aplicaciones móviles, pero sigue teniendo problemas para hablar. Esta es María. Le encanta aprender inglés, pero no tiene oportunidades para ponerlo en práctica. Con italki, Peter y María pueden recibir clases personales online para hablar con fluidez en otro idioma. Tú también puedes aprender un idioma en italki. Empieza hoy en 3 simples pasos. Primero, elige un idioma. Inglés, alemán, chino, francés, japonés. Italki tiene profesores para cualquier idioma. Segundo, escoge un profesor. Con Italki puedes escoger entre miles de profesores con experiencia de todo el mundo. Tercero, elige el horario de tu lección. Las clases de idiomas online son el mejor método para aprender con profesores nativos. Con Italki tendrás un profesor de idiomas personal y conversaciones reales con hablantes nativos. Cada día miles de personas aprenden con profesores internacionales a través de italki. Encuentra un profesor hoy y domina el idioma de tu lección.
Hi everyone, it's Vicente and I teach Spanish on italki.com. And today we will be talking about 3 grammar rules to follow when you start learning Spanish. The first one is that, as you have already heard, Spanish verbs are always conjugated. That means that they have to match with the subject of the sentence. For example, there are different pronouns in Spanish. Yo, tú, él, ella, usted, nosotros, nosotras, vosotros, vosotras, and ellos, ellas, y usted. All these pronouns have their own conjugations, and it's very common for beginners to mix them up. So remember this. When you start to conjugate the verbs, they have to match. The second rule is very important as well. The Spanish nouns and adjectives has to be in the same level. Let me explain you this. If you have a noun that is feminine and plural, for example, las mujeres, the adjective that you have to use right after the noun has to be feminine and plural as well. For example, las mujeres españolas. It is the same with the articles las, female and plural. We use this article because, as I say, it's female and plural. The third rule I already mentioned before, and be careful, English speakers, because the adjectives in Spanish go after the noun, not before like in English. This is very common for students that learn Spanish and already speak or know English. When I say it, las mujeres españolas, españolas is the adjective, and I put it after las mujeres. In English, it would be Spanish woman, but not in Spanish. Okay, there are some occasions where the adjectives go before the nouns. That is true, but normally this use comes out at intermediate level or advanced level, so do not worry when you are a beginner. Thanks for watching this video, and don't forget to subscribe to the italki YouTube channel over here. Take a lesson with me on italki.com by clicking on my teacher profile link in the description. Hasta luego! Hi everyone, it's Vicente and I teach Spanish on italki.com, and today I will be talking about 7 Spanish words that are similar to their English counterpart. These words are also known as cognates. What a cognate is? A cognate is a word that has the same linguistic derivation that another word, and it looks similar, and when you pronounce it, it sounds almost the same. And here I will give you 7 cognates so you can use them in Spanish as well. The first one is alcohol in Spanish. Guess you know what it means, because it sounds pretty similar than in English, doesn't it? Number 2 is conclusión. This one has a different pronunciation in Spanish, but you will understand definitely when you start learning Spanish. Number 3, hobby. This one is completely similar. We basically took this word from English. Number 4, individual. Of course, it's the same word, just different pronunciation. The next one, number 5, is piercing. Yes, we use this word with the same pronunciation and meaning. Next one, number 6, is informal. I like to use this one in my lessons to explain ways to greet and say goodbye, because it's similar in English and is a word that the students understand very quickly. And the last are some words related to sports. If you're learning Spanish and you like sports, you're lucky, because most of the words are cognates, like football, tennis, baseball, volleyball, hockey, water polo, golf, surf, and so on. As you can see, almost all sports are cognates. So, talking about your hobbies should not be difficult. As you can see, there are many, and I would like to remember you that there are hundreds of cognates, and if you check them, you can be ready to your first Spanish lesson. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the italki YouTube channel for more tips on learning Spanish. Take a lesson with me on italki.com by clicking on my teacher profile link in the description. Hasta luego!
Hi everyone, it's Caroline here, and I teach English on italki. Today I am going to be talking about business idioms, or idioms you might hear in your office or in your workplace. A student asked me a really good question the other day. He asked me whether, because I'm a native English speaker, do I know every single idiom? And the answer is no. Idioms are phrases or expressions that come from a particular place or a particular age group. So idioms are different in the UK to idioms in the United States. I have chosen 5 business idioms to talk to you about today, and you may hear them in an office in the UK or in the States. So hopefully they will be super useful for you. Idiom number 1 is the big picture. Imagine you go into a meeting and your boss says to you, you've lost sight of the big picture. What does that mean? That means that you are thinking too much about the small details of the project, and you are so interested in those little details that you don't remember what it is you're trying to achieve. So always keep sight of the big picture. The second idiom is to go the extra mile. Now imagine you're in an interview and the interviewer says to you that they are looking for someone who always goes the extra mile. What does that mean? Does it mean they want you to run around the office every day? No, it means they want you to do more than just what is in the job description. They want you to go that little bit further and to take on extra responsibilities. That is going the extra mile. The third idiom is a win-win situation. A win-win situation means everybody gains something. A really good example of this is these videos that I'm making for italki. italki gains some content for their website, some lessons for their learners, and I have a platform where students can see me and book lessons with me. It's a win-win. italki wins and Caroline wins. The fourth idiom is word of mouth. So an example of this is, think about how you found out about italki. Did you find italki by searching on Google, or did you find italki because one of your friends recommended it to you? Recommendations from friends are word of mouth. It can be positive or it can be negative. If your company gets bad word of mouth, it is going to be a difficult time for your company because people really listen to the opinions of their friends. So make sure whatever you do, you have good word of mouth about it. The fifth and final business idiom is to touch base. My manager used to say this to me a lot. To touch base means to have a very quick and short meeting about a project or something that you are working on. It might only be 5 minutes of your time, but in that time, you will check that your understanding of the project is the same as your manager's understanding of the project. So I have a challenge for you. In your next lesson, I want you to ask your teacher if you can touch base about what you have learned in your lessons so far. This could be 5 minutes at the end of the lesson where you review all of the different subjects that you have been studying. You're touching base about the things you have covered so far. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to italki by clicking somewhere. And you can take a lesson with me by clicking on my teacher profile in the description box. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.
Welcome back to the Stop Being Boring When Speaking English video series. When speaking to native English speakers, it's useful to use a variety of vocabulary to make your conversation sound more interesting and flow. Why not spice up your language a little bit and impress others with your speaking abilities? In this next video, we will take a look at some American and British slang.
Number 1, American. John Hancock.
John Hancock.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a person,
It's a name of a person, yes.
and it's American slang.
Mm-hmm. What do you think it means?
I just got John Hancock. Does it mean like wasted?
Certainly not.
Give me an example.
Okay, so can I please have your John Hancock at the bottom of this paper? Come on, you gotta get it now.
Is it your signature?
Yes, you got it! That was easy.
Okay, awesome. Number 1, British. Peak. What does peak mean?
Like, taking a peek.
Do that.
Sorry, that's not taking a peek.
That's not slang.
This is taking a peek.
But that's just like taking a peek. That's not slang.
Oh,
Like in a slang
peak.
context.
Like the peak of a mountain? That's not slang. That's actually
Yeah, that is the peak of a mountain.
I don't know. Tell me.
Okay, let me give you an example. So say you go out one night and you lose your purse, your keys.
Is it like the most horrible situation you can be in?
Yeah, exactly. You'd be like, that's so peak. You'd be like, oh, yeah. How was your night? It was so peak.
I just got fired. so peak.
Exactly. So it's like the peak of badness, I guess.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the peak.
2, American. Jacked.
Jacked. Does that mean like hench?
What does hench mean?
Like say you go to the gym.
Don't answer back with a slang word.
So the British equivalent of jacked would be hench, I think. So if someone's like really ripped.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So hench.
Go to the gym, work out a
Yeah,
lot.
like, whoa, look at him, he's so jacked.
We would say hench. Number 2, British. Peng. Peng.
Pang.
Peng. P-E-N-G. Peng.
Like someone being panged on the head with something? Or
I'm
just thinking of bang and pang. It's similar, I don't know.
I guess it's a little similar. No.
Give me an example.
Okay, so for example, say you're eating a cake, it's delicious, you can say, oh, this is peng.
Does it just mean delicious?
You could use it in other contexts as
Does it mean
well.
like it hits the spot? You know?
Yeah, but I could also say that your eyes are peng. Or a person is peng.
Just mean like extraordinarily awesome?
Basically. If you're talking about a person, you might even say peng-ting.
Peng-ting.
Like he's a peng-ting.
Okay.
This is mostly
I mean,
London.
like he's like a 10.
Yeah, exactly.
So like the top.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Buenos dias, todos. It's me again, Claire, Teacher Claire UK. You can, of course, call me Claire. Now, I've just been called in for a last-minute substitution. So we are going to do something slightly different to my last lesson yesterday. But I'm sure in your hands, I will be fine. I'm sure you're going to look after me today. We are going to be talking about making telephone calls. Got my glasses on. I'm going to take them off actually because I don't need them for this. We're going to be talking about making telephone calls today. First of all, let's see who's here. Who's in class with us today? Who can we see in class today? Tell me your name, say hello, where you're from, perhaps what city you're from, where you live. My name's Claire, as I said, and I'm from London. So I live in central London and I teach on italki. On italki, I teach a number of things. I teach professional/business English, helping people apply for jobs and looking at their presentations and so on. I also do academic English if you're looking to take IELTS or if you need help with your essay planning, essay writing, applications to university and that sort of thing. And I also do just general English where I will teach you all about grammar and the 5 skills: reading, writing, listening and speaking. We do have some people in the house today. Angel. Hello, Angel. I wonder if that's the same Angel as yesterday. And Carmela. Hi, Carmela from Catania, Italy. Ciao, Carmela. Ciao, come stai? And Angel, where are you from, Angel? I can't see where you're from. Now, oh, I've got Grazia from Milan. Hi, Grazia. We've had you before as well, haven't we? Nice to see you again. Thanks for coming to my lesson. Now, today I have put up a very special offer for my italki Live viewers. After the lesson, if you would like to take some lessons with me, I am giving just you guys, a special 50% off discount for this week and next week. You will need a code. You will need to put in the code LIVE5, live number 5. Just go to my profile page, find my contact form, complete the contact form telling me the sort of things that you want to do, and give me your email address so I can send you my placement test, or your placement test actually. This will help me assess you and put you in at the right level. But then you put in your code LIVE5 and I will give you 50% off the price of my classes for this week and next week. Or I mean, you can extend them over a couple of weeks. Who else have we got? Laura. Hello, Laura from Barcelona. a place that everybody says I should go to. I have not been to Barcelona yet. Been to south of Spain many times, and Alicante, where my family live. I've been to Italy as well. Who else have we got? Where's Angel from? Where is Angel from? Susanna, also from Italy, from Turin. Hi, Susanna. Thank you for joining us for today. Okay, let's go to the presentation and let's see what we have for you today on the topic of telephone calls. Making telephone calls. Now, I can already see that there is a delay, a lag between when I'm speaking and between what's happening on screen. So please, please bear with me, we say in English, bear with me while things come up. We cannot see my lesson. Studio, what do you suggest? Let me see if I can, and I might have to close down one of my windows a second, just bear with me. I think the internet is not very good today. At the moment, it seems that everybody in the world is on the internet. Yes, I think we have a connection problem. What should we do? Because you're not going to be able to see my lesson plans. My lesson. Let me see if this works when I do this. What happens next? No, can't see that either. Okay, what shall we do? Maybe what I'll do is I'll stop sharing it and I will share my screen again. Oh, the trouble with live TV, eh? There's always some sort of issue with live TV. They say, you know, in English, they say you should never work with children or animals. You should never work with children or animals. I think we should also add to that list live technology, because this is what's happening. Yes, it's not working, is it? Hi, Danielle from Barcelona too. Great, you're going to all have to invite me over to Barcelona, aren't you? Let's see. Just bear with us a second. One more little thing I might have to do. Close that one. Studio, any luck yet? Share screen again. Just bear with me. One more minute. I think we have liftoff. Great, wonderful. We have Erica from Ecuador and Eduardo from Spain. Hi, Eduardo. I think we've had you here before. Now the studio are saying they can't see anything. What are the live viewers saying? Can you see anything from your screens where you are? Erica, Eduardo, Danielle, Laura, Carmela, Angel, can you see my screen? I'm not quite sure what to do. If you can't see my screen, please answer me. Yes, I can see your screen. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. Okay, the show must go on, they say in show business, in Hollywood. The show must go on. People said they can see it. Eduardo, Daniel, thank you. Great, so you can see my screen. Okay, so today we are talking about business telephone communication. Business telephone communication. Now, let's have some answers in the comments, please. Let's look at this question here. What sort of things do we need to make phone calls for? What sort of things do we need to make phone calls for? In business, at work. Laura, Eduardo, what do you think? What sort of things do we make phone calls for? And because of the lag, I'm actually going to introduce the second question too. This one. What do you find most difficult when making or receiving phone calls? Does anybody like making phone calls in English? I know a lot of people say it's hard enough in your first language, let alone in a second language or third or fourth language. Why is it so difficult to make telephone calls in a language that is not your first language? Any answers from anybody? Any ideas? Why is it so difficult? It might be because you can't find the right words to say. That is completely understandable. I'm going to give you some tips on this in a moment. I'm going to give you some tips on how to know what to say before you make your phone calls or before you even receive phone calls from work. Why are phone calls so difficult to make? Eduardo, I don't do telephone calls for business, only for practicing my English. Well, that's a good thing to do, actually, anyway. Actually, that's a really good thing, isn't it? You can find somebody to make practice phone calls with. You could probably find someone on the italki community, actually, on the italki website. We have a tab for our community. You could find somebody that you could make phone calls with to practice. Laura says you only have your ears, not your body language. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because when we communicate with people, especially face to face, I think it's something like only 50% of something is from, we communicate, only 50% of what we communicate is through the words that we use. The rest is body language and facial expressions and the context where the person is. If you're in a bank, for example, or in a supermarket, for example, you already know that the person that you're going to talk to is going to ask you things that you probably know already in your own language. In a supermarket, it might be, would you like to pay by cash or card? Do you need a plastic bag? Is there anything else I can help with? You already know what they're going to say, so you can kind of understand them, even if you don't really understand them. But with a telephone call, you have no context, no body language, no facial expressions. Carmela uses the phone for customer support. Really? Goodness. Excellent. How do you find that, Carmela? Is that easy for you? Do you find it easy? Is it difficult? Eduardo, maybe we could pop this one up on the screen as well. The most difficult thing is to understand without watching the other person's or the other people's face and their lips moving. Yes, because we often lip read, don't we? We often lip read and read facial expressions. Carmela agrees with him. Good. Thank you, Carmela. Thank you for agreeing with your fellow viewers. Yes. So all of these things are difficult. Plus, you might have, like we've had today, technical problems. The internet line might go down. The phone line might be crackly. You know, when you can't quite hear exactly what the other person is saying. We've often done this to other people, or we joke about it. Oh, I'm going through a tunnel. I'm going through a tunnel. Terrible sound. All sorts of technical problems could happen with your phone connection as well. And then finally, one of the things I think is quite difficult about making phone calls is the use of phrasal verbs. Oh, accents. Yes, Eduardo has said people's accents as well. Of course. Of course. People's accents are difficult to understand. In any language, somebody's accent could be difficult. In English, in England, in Britain, we have many different accents. Scottish, Newcastle or Geordie, we call it. Liverpool or Scouse, we call it. Irish, Welsh, Manchester, Bristol, many different accents. And some of them are more difficult to understand than others, even for native speakers. So even if I'm talking to somebody from like Newcastle, I sometimes have to ask them to slow down. Please, could you repeat that? So it's going to be even more difficult if English is not your first language. So what I was talking, also saying, is about phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs can be difficult, and we use a lot of them over the telephone. Now, I'm not going to go into detail on phrasal verbs just yet, okay? I'm going to come back to phrasal verbs in a minute, and I want you to be prepared. I want you to think about the definition of a phrasal verb, but don't tell us yet. Don't put it in the box yet. Later, when I come back to phrasal verbs, I want you to give me a definition of what a phrasal verb is. And also, your second piece of homework to do right now while you're having this live lesson with me is to jot down, if you've got a piece of paper. You know, I love my post-it notes. All teachers love post-it notes. Jot down any phrasal verbs that you hear me say in the next 10 minutes or so. Let's see how many phrasal verbs you can hear me saying, even just in casual conversation or when I'm explaining something. What phrasal verbs am I going to say? Okie dokie. Now, 5 top tips. My 5 top tips. I often do 5 top tips for my classes. You may have seen some yesterday for interview skills, or the day before for presentation skills. I haven't done my PowerPoint that I usually do because today I'm doing a last minute lesson. Somebody couldn't make it, so I'm just jumped in and I've got them on my iPad. So I'm just going to tell you my 5 top tips. I would like to put them on the board actually for you, but perhaps you can jot these down anyway. Jot them down on your piece of paper, anywhere you like. I tell you what, this might be a nice idea. Could somebody from the audience perhaps type my top tip, my 5 top tips, into the box, into the comments? That would be really useful if you could do that for me. Thank you very much, my teacher's assistant. Okay, so number 1 top tip is somebody writing this down into the chat box. Top tip: go somewhere quiet. Okay, go somewhere quiet. I've worked in jobs for many years. I'm 46 now, and I've been working since I was about 15. And I've worked in many hotel and catering places, and they can be very loud. Music, customers, children, traffic from outside, other people, my colleagues, my customers talking loudly. And often you can't hear what the person is saying, as some of you have said in your comments. So try to find somewhere quiet to go. Go somewhere quiet. Anybody want to type that in the comments box for me? Go somewhere quiet. I'm not sure if somebody has typed that because I can't see all the comments today. I'm really sorry. Bad internet connection, I think. Tip number 2, back to the post-it note, back to my tip to always use a piece of paper. Take a pen and a paper when you're on the telephone. I do this even with English as my first language. I always write everything down, jot down the main points as you're talking to somebody. Always jot things down. Eduardo, thank you, Eduardo. Go somewhere quiet. Excellent. Number 2, Eduardo, if you can, or if anybody else can. And studio, are you able to put top tip number 1 on the slide from Eduardo? I don't know if you can see it. Go somewhere quiet. Eduardo says, I'm in the living room. My wife is watching TV and my son is talking to me whilst I type. Yes, it's difficult, isn't it? Especially with children around, dogs, cats. Oh, goodness, yes, noisy cats. I have had a few of those in my lessons. Noisy cats. I love cats, but they're noisy. They can be noisy. Number 2 is use a notepad and jot down the main information, the key points, I call them. Jot down the key points. Top tip number 3. Top tip number 3 is always ask for the exact spelling of somebody's name, their email address, and reconfirm with them dates and times. Now, this might seem really obvious, but when English isn't your first language, or when you're speaking to somebody else whose first language isn't English, there are many dates and numbers that sound similar. For example, can anybody give me an example of a number that sounds similar to another number? If somebody wants to write in the box and one number that sounds like another number. And whilst I'm waiting for someone to do that, I'm going to go over top tip number 3 again. Always confirm the spelling and of names and email addresses. This is Eduardo, number 3. Yes, confirm spellings. Confirm spelling. Because these days that whilst we, when we use emails and the internet, actually, it's even more important that we spell the email address correctly. We don't want to send it to McDonald's if we're wanting to send it to Mr. McDonald or Mrs. McDonald or something. But you know what I mean. Spellings in emails are really important these days. So ask the person to repeat their spelling, the spelling of their name and their email address, and also dates and times, because numbers such as 13th, 13th, and 30th sound very similar. 13th and 30th sound very similar. Eduardo, always confirm the spelling of words and numbers. Exactly. Thank you, Eduardo. They sound very different, very similar. So you might want to say, is that 1-3 or is that 3-0? Is that 1-3 or is that 3-0? April 2020 or whatever. So for example, tomorrow is the 30th of April. If I was talking to somebody on the telephone, I would say, is that 3-0 or 1-3? Is that the 13th or the 30th? Tip number 4. Yes, thank you, Eduardo. Excellent. 13, 30, and 30th. Exactly. Tip number 4. Tell the caller. This is a tip that us events management people have not always done. We do. Tell the caller that you are going to send them a follow-up email to confirm what you have said on the phone, to confirm what you have spoken about on the phone. So for the point of Eduardo typing this down for you, you could, Eduardo, you could say, follow up with an email. Follow up with an email. Eduardo's going to get that typed up for you. So number 4 is to follow up with an email to confirm what you've been talking about, because then you can be absolutely sure if you've got the right date, the right time, even the right email address, because if they don't reply to your email, you know you've probably written it down incorrectly and you will have to phone them on the phone number that they have provided you with. Eduardo, tell the caller that you're going to send him or her an email to confirm the message. Excellent. Thanks, Eduardo. And finally, wonderful. Follow up with the email to confirm. Finally, top tip number 5. Now, this one, you may have to ask for permission. I'm sure your colleagues won't mind, but ask your colleagues if you can listen to them when they are on the telephone, or if you don't work in an environment where people speak English, ask anybody else if you can listen to them while they are on the telephone. So if you're in a big office and you can hear your colleague next door on the phone, you might not even have to really ask, but it's probably a nice idea if you say to them, do you mind if I listen in Do you mind if I listen in to you speaking to people on the phone so I can get some tips on how to do telephone communication for business? So for Eduardo's minutes, for number 5, Eduardo, it's listen in to colleagues. Listen in to colleagues, or listen in to other people on the phone. Okay, let's now see if we can go to the next part of the lesson. Just hang on a second. I'm going to give you some vocabulary now for answering the phone. Okay, let's say this is italki and I'm Claire. Okay, I normally have a really nice pen that I do that with, but they didn't have time to set it up for this lesson. Okay, so I'm Ruth. Hi Ruth, how are you? You're back. Great, thanks for joining us, Ruth. And Eduardo have both said that number 5 is listening into colleagues on the phone. Excellent, thank you. Just before I go on to the next slide, just to remind you all that this week I am doing a special offer for my italki live viewers, 50% off. Go to my profile after the lesson, book a trial with me, and then if you use the code LIVE5 in the contact form, I will give you 50% off for 5 lessons with me, okay? Right, so I'm going to model a couple of these. I know some of you love modeling or shadowing when I model. Some of you are not so brave, or you can't because you're on a bus or something. But if you are somewhere where you can speak out loud, I advise you or I recommend you to copy me now and practice using some expressions to answer the phone. So I would say, hello, italki, this is Claire. How can I help you? Hello, italki, this is Claire. How can I help you? The next one, I'm just going to do morning, okay? Good morning, this is Claire. How may I direct your call? Good morning, this is Claire. How may I direct your call? You following along here? How may I direct your call? How may I direct your call? Oh, that's the other thing we forgot to say, isn't it? Is that one of the difficulties when you're on the phone is people use different language. Look at this. How may I direct your call? If you phone up a hotel or an event space or something to book a room for your business meeting, you may hear this. How may I direct your call? It's not something we'd say in normal day-to-day English. It's specific telephone language. Telephone language. I even have a telephone voice, my sister says. I talk one way when I'm just talking to people, but when I'm on the telephone, I say, hello, how may I direct your call? It's my telephone voice. Do you have telephone voices in other countries? Do you have in other languages? Thank you, Ruth. Doing pretty well, actually. Good. That's nice to hear from you. I'm glad that you're doing well. Do you have telephone voices in your first language, in Spanish, in Italian? Where else have we got people from today? In Mandarin, perhaps. Alex from China, I think. How may I direct your call? Very formal. Next one. Hello, Claire speaking. What can I assist you with today? Hello, Claire speaking. What can I assist you with today? Assist. What can I help you with today? What can I assist you with? What can I help you with today? Now, these are phrases that you might need if you're picking up the phone at work. Depends on your job. You may or may not pick up the phone directly. You may work in a large office where everybody picks up the phone when it's their turn, or you might work on a reception in a hotel or a conference center or something, or in a telecoms company. So you might have to learn how to say these things. But even if you don't, it's useful to know what these things sound like so that when you're phoning somebody else, you know what to expect. You know the phrases that they're going to say. Feel free to take photos of these, by the way. Feel free to take photos. This is one of my lessons that I give with Off to Class, which is the wonderful company that I work with. Okay, where did I get to? Last one. Hello, you've reached the finance department of italki. Hello, you've reached the finance department of italki. How would you answer the phone in your office? Let's have some examples in the comments boxes, shall we? How would you answer the phone in your office? Would you use any of these phrases? Would you use any of these phrases? Okay. Which one am I going to next? Bear with me. Remember, I think I'm doing this as an emergency last minute lesson, so I'm kind of trying to do this off the hoof, as we say. Okay, now next one, taking messages. So this is where you are in the office and somebody has called your office or your workplace, and you definitely have to take a message. I wonder if are people still writing down or jotting down all the phrasal verbs that I'm using or that we've been using in this. I'm going to come on to those in a minute, okay, phrasal verbs. So this is something that you might say to somebody that's calling you. They phoned and said, please could I speak to somebody from the finance department? Please could I speak to somebody from the finance department? I'm going to put here, the finance department. The finance department isn't taking calls right now. Could I take a message? Right up there. The finance department isn't taking calls right now. Could I take a message? Let's put a name here, shall we? Let's put Sally. I'm sorry, Sally is in a meeting until 10 a.m. Would you like to call back again later? I'm sorry, Sally is in a meeting until 10 a.m. Would you like to call back again later? Now, this is a good tip, actually, because if you ask them to call back, rather than taking a message, you don't have to write anything down. You don't have to get anything, you don't have to worry about getting the message right. Ask them to call you back or ask them to call back a bit later when Sally is out of the meeting. And then if they say, oh, I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to call back, please could you take a message? Then you can take the message. Or preferably, they have a voicemail. So let's go on to the next one. Sally is out today. Can I forward you to her voicemail? Sally is out today. Could I forward you to her voicemail? Are we shadowing, modelling? Erica, we use the second one. Great. I think that was on the previous slide. Ruth, yes, we do. I would say it is not specifically a phone voice, but a professional tone that we use when working different from the one that we use with friends, family and friends. Great. That is a great extended sentence there, Ruth. Thank you very much. And very good grammar and vocabulary there. Excellent. Eduardo, if a friend calls you, what's your normal response? I mean, in your daily life. You're asking me if a friend calls you, what's your normal response? Oh, that's a good question, Eduardo. And a good point. If any of you got any questions that you want to ask me, feel free to flag them up in the comments. Although I only have one comment thread going at the moment, and I'm not sure which one it is, if it's the one on the italki website or the YouTube channel. What would I say? Okay, if a friend calls me, I'd say, hi, hello. That's it. I don't tend to say, hi, Claire speaking, or hello, Claire speaking. I'll just go, mind you, these days it's a bit different as well, isn't it? Because if you've got a mobile phone, you know that it's your mum phoning. Hi, mum, how are you? Or if it's one of my students that occasionally calls on WhatsApp, I might say, hello there, how are you? Hello, so-and-so, how are you doing today? I'd probably be sort of semi-formal if it's one of my students calling. Okay, final one. Sally is on the phone at the moment. Can I have her call you back later? Can I have her call you back later? Would you like to be put through to her voicemail? Would you like to be put through to her voicemail? Now, this is what you say when you want to leave a message. So if you're calling somebody else, you're requesting to leave a message. So you phoned italki Finance Department or whatever it is, and that person isn't available. You can say to them, could you tell him that I called, please? Could you tell him that I called, please? Take a photo of these if you like, or jot them down if it's easier. Now this one is a little bit longer, very formal. It kind of depends on who you're speaking to. I probably wouldn't say this in all situations, but if I was calling to speak to a bank manager, perhaps a bank manager, I might say, could you ask him to call me back at his earliest convenience? Or could you ask her to call me back at her earliest convenience? Earliest convenience means basically when she's free. As soon as she's free or when it's suitable for her. Can you ask her to call me back at her earliest convenience? Yeah, Eduardo, exactly. Yeah, we normally know who's calling these days, don't we? Well, that's really good. That's quite a fortunate thing, isn't it? You know whether you should pick it up or not. Oops, I've gone to the wrong one here. Now, this is what we frequently need to say a lot. I use this a lot, even like I said earlier, even when I'm talking to people that have English as a first language, but perhaps they're in a very noisy area, or perhaps they're from a region of the UK that I don't always understand their accent. Could you speak? I'm sorry. Could you please speak more slowly? Feel free to shadow when I model. Could you please speak more slowly? I'm sorry, I didn't catch what you said. That one I say all the time. I didn't catch what you said. Or you could replace what you said with that. I didn't catch that. I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. I'm sorry, I didn't follow that. I'm sorry, I didn't follow what you said. I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Please could you repeat? Next one. Could you speak up a bit? Could you speak up a bit? Could you speak a bit louder? Could you speak a bit louder? Why do we use this here, this modal verb, could? Why do we use could here? You think you can say can. Can you speak a bit louder? Yes, you can. You can say can. You could say can. You could say either. Could sounds a bit more polite. Could you speak a bit louder, please? Now, the next one is coming on to when we have difficulty spelling something. You know, I advised you earlier in the top five top tips, how I advised you to make sure that you confirm the spelling of something when you're taking a message. So the way that we say in English, if we don't know exactly what the letter is, so we might have two letters that sound similar, T or D. What other examples are there, actually? If people could comment in the boxes. What letters sound similar to each other in English? And I'll do you some example pronunciation and how to ask for it to be pronounced. Ruth, is it follow a little bit more formal? Yeah, I guess so. I didn't quite follow that. Yeah, I guess that's a bit more formal than I didn't quite catch that. But to be honest with you, I think catch or follow are about the same, and you can say either of them. I didn't quite catch that. Could you please repeat? Ruth, yes, we use could to be polite. So when letters sound similar to each other, we say, is that, insert the letter here, as in, and then a word that begins with that letter. Is that C as in cat? Is that C as in cat? Now, there is something called the, is it NASA? I'm not sure what it's called now. The phonetic alphabet, in English we call it, we say alpha, beta, Charlie, Delta, Echo, Hotel, India. I can't remember the rest. Well, I do know them. And we often say, if somebody asks for your postcode in English, we might say Golf Yankee instead of G and Y. Golf Yankee instead of G and Y. G or Y. This is in case there's interference on the phone. It was designed by the military many years ago, you know, when they were in the war and there were bombs, there's lots of noise around, and they couldn't always hear exactly what was being said. So they invented this phonetic alphabet. NATO, that's what it's called, the NATO phonetic alphabet, not NASA. I knew it was similar to that. The NATO phonetic alphabet. Alpha, beta, Charlie, Delta, Echo. Now that's the formal way of doing it. Is it A as in alpha? Is it B as in beta? My name is Claire. Is that C as in Charlie? However, when we're on the phone, or if you don't know these things, we often forget what these things are. We just tend to pick any word that we can think of. Any word that starts with C for my name. Is that C as in cat? Let's see if we can come up with some for the letters T and D. Is that T as in? Eduardo has said P and B. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, let's go with P and B and T and D. Erica struggles with the vowels. Yes, they're always difficult, aren't they, as well? P and B. B. P and B. Let's have some examples in the box below of how we would say, is that T as in here? Well, let's do that here, actually. Let's do it here. Is that T as in, and then insert a word, any word that you can think of that begins with T, any word that you can think of that begins with D or P or B. Is that T as in? Is that T as in? Is that tea as in tea? In England, we are famous for drinking a lot of tea. We drink a lot of tea. So you could say, is that tea as in tea? That might cause people to laugh a little bit. Is that tea as in tea? Is that tea as in Tommy, perhaps? What examples have other people got? Is that tea as in tomato, Eduardo? Thank you. I was even struggling then to think of the right word, or to find a word. Is that tea as in tomato? Is that P as in people? Great. Ruth's come up with some really excellent ones. Countries. That's a really good idea. Is that T as in Thailand? Is that D as in Denmark? Is that P as in Poland? Is that B as in Bulgari? Eduardo, is that T as in tea? You got my joke. Excellent. Thank you. I've got the other comment stream up now. Georgiodor. Georgiodor. He says T as in tiger. Is that T as in tiger? Excellent. Thank you. Oh, and Rafaela, thank you very much for also writing down all of the points that I made earlier. I'm sorry I didn't answer them earlier. I couldn't see that thread. Okay. Ruth has also said to take a pen and paper and so on. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Great. So yes, we have quite a few really good examples of how we might spell something. B as in beer, Eduardo. Oh, yes. Man after my own heart. Yes. Ooh, I really fancy a beer now. It's only 3 o'clock in England at the moment, and I've got a few more lessons later, so I can't quite have a beer. I do have a coffee, though. Is that C as in coffee? Is that C as in coffee? I drink tea in the morning and coffee in the afternoon. I don't know if other people do that. I think that's quite a British thing as well. Tea in the morning, coffee in the afternoon. Okay, so what else have we got? I think we have a bad connection. Yes, this is a very useful phrase, and these days, very, very common. We had it at the beginning of this program, right? Bad connection. I think we have a bad connection. I'm really sorry. I think we have a bad connection. Could I call you back? Can I call you back? And finally, I'm sorry. Could you repeat that, please? I'm sorry. Could you repeat that, please? Okay, now, I'm not sure what the lag is like at the moment, but I wanted to do some practice on this. Are you all ready to type in the box something that I'm going to spell it for you first, and then you can type it in the box. And then the other way round, we're going to do it the other way around as well. I'm going to say it, and then you're going to spell it into the box. Is this going to work? Yes. Okay. So the first email address that I'm going to dictate to you, I'm going to say it to you. I want you to write it into the box. How about Eduardo says, can you say you are breaking up? Yes, good. Phrasal verb. Sorry, you're breaking up. Sorry, you're breaking up. Okay, let's practice this, okay? Okay, so what is your email address? My email address is stevenson_sarah@regencyhotel.co.uk. Please, could you say that a bit slower? Please, could you spell that for me? Please, could you spell that for me? You're going to get your pen and paper out. Here we all go. Are you ready? STEVEN, S for sugar, ON, underscore, S for sugar, ARAH, at, that's the thing that we use in email addresses, Aruba in Spanish, I think, at regencyhotel.co.uk, REGENCYHOTEL .co.uk. Stevenson_Sarah@regencyhotel.co.uk. Anybody got that? That's my connection gone again. Oh, someone's got it. Rafaela. Excellent. 100%. Oops, I put a Q in there. Sorry about that. Yes, 100% white. Rafaela, well done. Stevenson, no, you missed out hotel. So, 90%. But still well done. Oops. I'm trying to give you a smiley face. Stevenson_Sarah@regencyhotel.co.uk, but close enough, okay? Although, to be honest, it might not have got there if you didn't put it wouldn't have got there if you didn't put the hotel in. Let's see who does have it. 100%. Ruth, well done, Ruth. Stevenson_Sarah@regencyhotel.co.uk. Wonderful. And Eduardo, also perfect. Ruth, the line has broken right in the middle of the spelling. I'm not quite sure what that means, actually. I'm not quite sure what that means. Okay, but well done. That's good. Now, the other way around, I want you to type these up without me spelling it. That's what we're going to do. And let's see if anybody can get this. Aisha-7017 Aisha-1717 7017 @live.com. 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 7017 Let's see who can get that one. Aisha-7017@live.com. Aisha-7017@live.com. Good, Liliana. Liliana's had a go. She's given us her answer. Rafaela, lovely. Anybody else? Eduardo, Ruth? Aisha-7017@live.com. Let's see if I can put this in the box. And this will demonstrate to you how important this is. It looks like I've frozen on one of these screens. Aisha-7017@live.com. Now, in a way, you are nearly correct, many of you, but this really demonstrates the point. Can anybody see that? Can everybody see that? I've got it on the italki page. Let me see if I can also pop that over onto the YouTube channel as well, because it really demonstrates how many ways we have of spelling in English. I'm not sure it's like in your language. And I've put this on the italki website. I'm trying to put it onto the YouTube one as well. It's taking ages to load. I think it's the YouTube that's causing me bad connection problems. That's a real shame. So I wanted to show everybody how I would have spelt, or how this was intended to be spelt. But the point I was getting at is that 7017 can either be numbers, obviously, like some people have attempted with theirs, the number 1, the number 7, the number 7, the number 0, or it could be spelt out in full. 7017, SEVENTY, SEVENTWEEN. It could be either of those. So make sure you always ask people how to spell something. Now, have I got a time for a little bit of phrasal verbs with you all? I think so. Just bear with me. Did anybody catch how many phrasal verbs that have been mentioned in the last couple of minutes? No, well, 20 minutes, half an hour. Eduardo, the email will never reach that address. Exactly. I was breaking up during the spelling. Yeah, sorry. That's actually totally ironic, isn't it? Ruth says, ha ha ha. Yeah, that's exactly the problem. You never know who you're going to send emails to. This is such a fun lesson. What was I doing? Phrasal verb. What is a phrasal verb? Anybody know what a phrasal verb is? A definition of a phrasal verb? Okay, phrasal verb is made up of, let me type it on here for you. That larger. Let's move that over. A verb plus a what? Anybody know? Yes, you've definitely written some down. Great, Ruth. Break up, jot down, follow up, listen in. Great. Decar. Appena llego y no entiendo. Oh, lo siento. I'm not quite sure that's exactly what you don't understand. Put through. Brilliant. Eduardo has had a good guess at the definition of a phrasal verb. A verb plus a preposition, which doesn't make any sense. I like that. You're going to make me get the giggles. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand that. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. A phrasal verb is a verb plus, actually, the technical term in grammatical terms is a particle. A verb plus a particle. Now, a particle can be either a preposition or an adverb, which is why we call it a particle. A verb plus a particle can be either a preposition or an adverb. And when those two words are together, they can often make no sense whatsoever, as Eduardo says. Oh, we've got some new people joining us. Matthias, Deckard, hi. Yes, Eduardo has hit the nail on the head. Wonderful idiom. He has hit the nail on the head. Do you know what, actually, in my lessons, and if you do take me up on my italki Live 50% off special offer, we can do some phrasal verbs together. I have over 30 lessons on phrasal verbs, beginning from an introduction to phrasal verbs all the way up to the most complicated things. But that just demonstrates to you how many rules there are for phrasal verbs, how difficult they can be. Some of them we can separate, separable phrasal verbs. Some of them have a direct object, they're transitive phrasal verbs. I would explain all that to you in detail, obviously, in a lesson. But there are so many rules and so many different ways of using phrasal verbs. They can be really difficult and make no sense whatsoever, as Eduardo says. So let's just have a look at a couple. We're just going to do number one. I'll make this any bigger on this screen. Can you see this? Number one. Hang on. Hang on. What does hang on mean? Hang on a minute, I'll just see if she's in. Or hang on the line. Hang on, wait for me. This is an intransitive phrasal verb. That means it doesn't necessarily need a direct object. It's not separable either. You can't separate this one. Inseparable. Inseparable. Now that's how I enlarge it. Here, I just worked it out. Let's look at this one. Run by. To run something by somebody. So if you're in a business negotiation on the phone, or if you're talking about business, and they say, "Oh, I would like you to agree that amount today," and you say, "I'm afraid I'm going to have to run that by my team. I'm going to have to run that by my team." That means I have to check with my team. I have to agree that with my team before I can confirm that with you. I need to run it by or run it past. I need to run it past my team. Couple more. Pencil something in the diary. Pencil something in the diary. To draw up a contract. To break down the costs into smaller amounts. To look into, to think through. There's hundreds and hundreds of phrasal verbs. So I think that's all for now on that particular topic. I did have some more content for you for this lesson, but we haven't managed to get through it all. I'm happy to do these lessons with you in the rest of this lesson, with you next week on italki Live. If you'd like me to do more italki Lives, please feel free to leave a comment below and say yes, please come back and do the other half of the lesson. I was thinking of doing some connected speech and some pronunciation with you. The one pronunciation thing that I would love to do with you guys is how to pronounce pronunciation. I'm going to do it. Can we do this in 1 minute? How to pronounce pronunciation. Right, you're going to have to model this with shadow me. I'll model it. You shadow it, okay? Often this word pronunciation is pronounced incorrectly because in the word pronounce we have an O and a U, but in the word pronunciation we only have U. We only have, oh, I've deleted it. That's a bit annoying. Sorry, let me see if I can put it back up. How to pronounce pronunciation. Okay, can you see the difference? Pronounce has an OU, Pronunciation only has a U. So we pronounce pronunciation differently. Can you say both words, please, after me? Pronounce. Look at my mouth. Pronounce. Pronunciation. When pronunciation, my mouth goes down. And now I would say, I now know. I now know how to pronounce pronunciation. Let's do that whole tongue twister. I now know how to pronounce pronunciation. I now know how to pronounce pronunciation. If you come to class with me, I'll do this with you over and over again. I am going to have to go. I'm really sorry. It's been real fun today. It's lovely to see the regulars back again. If you would like more lessons with me next week, feel free to leave a comment below. I'm sorry I've not been able to engage in all of the comments today. Slight technical issues. If you want to take me up on phrasal verb, my offer of reduced 50% off for my live viewers, go to my profile. You can see my thing there, Teach Claire UK, IELTS and ESP. I'm not sure if that's exactly my link. I think my link is on something else here on the YouTube channel, maybe. Come to me and I'll give you 50%, live 5, fill out my contact form. And if not, I'll hope to see you again. Oh, thanks, Ruth. I'd love to do more lessons with you. Oh, I wish I'd have taken requests. I should have taken requests, what you'd like to do. Anyway, that's the end of my lesson. Tune in to everybody else's lesson for the rest of this week. And we've now just extended it to next week as well. Check out the agenda. Have a wonderful May Day, whatever you're going to be doing, on strike, on a protest, taking the day off, relaxing with your family. And I will see you next week. Thank you, Erica. Thanks, everybody. See you soon.